Everybody set?
Yeah.
I will call the meeting to order. Review the agenda
I
for
had to put my note.
removal or adjustments of any items.
We have one adjustment, no, not adjustment, I have one addition, sorry. Let's put it into the consent agenda at 5E. It's authorized grant application for a grant for the Basin Street project.
I just crossed that street and almost fell into it and was saying, like, I wonder what's happening with that.
There you go. We're getting money for it.
Good.
Hopefully.
Well, hopefully, yeah, that's right.
Alrighty. Anything else?
This is the state of Vermont, come on.
Alright, onward. Public forum, opportunity for anybody not on the agenda to briefly speak. Anyone here? Anyone on Zoom?
Use the
Raise your hand.
raise your hand if you wish to be recognized on Zoom.
Right, hearing none, seeing none. Department head roundtable. Oh, they put you first, Eric.
They did.
Yep, they did.
Oh, man.
Oh, you caught him off guard.
Yeah, I don't know what the heck.
Yeah, been doing
They're public works. So we started getting ready for our spring work now. Got the broom on the tractor. We gotta get the broom on the loader. We got a couple things, minor maintenance items on that to do. They started sweeping the sidewalks. We're starting to, like I said, spring work, so Mike's out with a grader pulling the shoulders, getting the roads all shaped up. Roads are all of our roads are unposted except for the two uppers. And hopefully they'll dry out enough where we can pull them Friday.
I mean, upper notch and upper median, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Upper notch, upper median, they're still posted as of right now.
Mhm.
We just had our VLCT inspection, pre-inspection, I guess you'd call it. We went, as far as I know, everything went through good. No, he didn't come up with anything major. And we'll get a report on that probably within a couple weeks,
Right.
I'm assuming. That's basically the gist of it.
Okay. We'll let you off with that then. Police, Bruce.
You just barely got in.
Sorry, Bruce, hang on.
Think you're unmuted, Bruce.
Yeah, you're set.
Okay,
Sorry about that.
yeah, that's okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
So for the month of January, February, March, we entered 941 incidents. They range from everything from a traffic stop to criminal investigations and arrests. I don't know if you've noticed, our Durango is finally finished. It took us a while for the parts to come in or all of the equipment to come in, but it's finally on the road and out there being used. We'll be participating in the drug take back day, the 26th from 10 to 2, but we encourage everybody to come between 10 and 12. And you may have noticed on South Street, Eric and I created some parking spaces. As we all know, parking is an issue, continues to be an issue. So we were able to create 4 more spaces. They're marked so people know where to park on South Street. And that's about all I have.
Are those spaces limited time wise?
Not at this time. I think we have the ability to make it 2-hour parking on the east side, at least the first 2. But I think due to that location, I don't think it's necessary at this time. If we find that there's not much movement, we can always revisit that.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you. Anything else?
That's it.
Questions for Bruce?
Mm.
Oh, I already asked mine before I asked for questions. Okay, thank you, Bruce. Fire, Brett.
Brett will not be here this evening.
Okay. Water and sewer, Jill.
Good evening. How's everybody?
Good.
Here.
Awesome. So I saw the largest stump so far in Bristol today on Meadow Lane. And it happens to be squarely on the center of the water line right there. So Eric is preparing to pull that stump and its associated roots out. And we will be exercising the valve at the bottom of Meadow Lane, where it mates up with Lower Meadow Lane, and at the top corner of Mountain, just to make sure that they exercise well prior to the rip out, just in case, because that would be the way to stop water from flowing out of that if perchance something happened to the water line there. So that's kind of the big deal. I think we kind of put our heads together and conferred and think maybe it's better to not try to shut the valves all the way off and open the hydrant and make sure that it shuts off all the way and disturb people's water, unless you guys think that that would be prudent.
We're talking on the same spot, the same.
Yeah, because
location?
I would end up shutting water off to Mountain Street down, the top corner of Mountain Street down to Deveno. It would shut off Adirondack View and Meadow Lane and then the east side of Lower for maybe like 30 minutes. Or I could just exercise the valves, make sure they go down all the way and that they're not full of dirt, and just say they exercise, they likely will shut off, and let them proceed with their dig.
I say do that.
Yeah,
Yeah, just kind of make sure they exercise and don't get too crazy about actually shutting it all the way off and flowing all kinds of water. Okay.
Yeah,
That was kind of my gut as well, was to like, do some planning, but not overdo it. Okay, so just kind of a heads up, it is time to mark out all of the services on the east side for the Bristol East design project. So we'll be out there marking curbs for Bristol East so that Steve can get them surveyed in. And depending on what you guys want to do with service lines, if you want to utilize some state funding to replace potentially galvanized and lead service lines in Bristol West, we would need to work on getting easements from landowners. And I think that will be on a future meeting. I guess we're supposed to meet with Cindy from the state and try to get in writing some type of commitment to 100% loan forgiveness, if that is what they're saying is available versus.
I like that.
Yeah, so we've been
Promises.
See, I know, my stomach doesn't feel good about it. That's all. They're telling us, I just had an SRF funding meeting. Actually, it was a 3-hour training last Thursday morning, and I learned a couple things. First of all, that there is the pot of money that we know is the drinking water SRF that has that potential 50% loan forgiveness if you've met all of the conditions, which we're still working towards meeting for Bristol West. There's a pot of money for PFAS treatment, which isn't something we need. And there's a third pot of money for lead and galvanized lines. So it's been shared with us that it still has lots of funding and that it's 100% funded. So I'll continue to try to get everything in writing that I can. The other thing that I learned that I found pretty exciting, and maybe it's just because I'm a bit of a dork when it comes to financial stuff, but they said that they would let us use the drinking water SRF reimbursement program to ask for 2-party checks to pay larger bills on our Bristol West, East, and Rockydale projects. So I was quite concerned about the town maybe needing a pretty significant line of credit to be able to pay contractor pay requests and engineering invoices as we move into the Bristol West and Bristol East projects, given that they're millions of dollars each. Said that they will allow us to do 1 reimbursement per month and to notate on the reimbursement if we want 2-party checks. So, and that they would work with us assertively to make sure that they were released swiftly. So I would propose that the contractor's pay requisition and the engineer's bill during the construction season were placed within like a day of the construction meeting on a reimbursement request with any other reimbursements that are needed in that month. and then sent with great detail and a phone call to Amy and Katie in the drinking water SRF program to make sure they know it's coming, it's here, we need it back within 2 weeks. The third-party checks would be written to respectively the contractor and the town of Bristol and the engineer in the town of Bristol, and that would save you guys from needing a pretty good size, like $1.5 million line of credit and all of that interest that would be created by needing to use that interim financing, and it is not an eligible project cost, which is why I was pushing them so hard to try to create some type of solution, given that they're not allowing us to get our interest reimbursed by the program. So hopefully that's as exciting to you guys as it is to me, because it feels a little overbearing to try to come up with millions of dollars in the interim to finance construction projects.
Definitely, thank you.
And let's see, on the wastewater side, we've got our wastewater inspection for 2025 coming up at the end of April. And it's been class time because all my licenses are renewing. The class that I did 2 weeks earlier was on high strength waste. And I learned something in that class that I hadn't learned before, which I thought was pretty astounding, is that just one beer dumped down the drain would actually ruin our permit. So Ian and I have been talking along with Steve, and I think what we're going to do is set up some type of program where we're working with the different businesses that have any type of food or liquid that's high strength waste and encouraging them to side stream. So if it's a tap that has beer that comes out of a tap and something might spill into the tray, instead of that going to a drain, it would go into a bucket that does not go to the sewer system. If it was a bottle that was being emptied with soda or maple syrup or pretty much anything organic, they're all high strength waste, that would go into a bucket and not down the drain. And same with food waste on a plate or from a bowl from baking or anything of that sort, it would be put into a bucket and not down the drain. So I think that I learned that it's not just the fats, oils, and greases that are getting us, it's those food products that are going down the drain. It's those liquid food products for the most part that are going down the drain and giving us those high BOD and TSS numbers.
Aren't they supposed to be composting anyway?
Yes. So my thought was, I've seen like little trucks around town that are picking up compost buckets.
You know.
Businesses and residences. I think it's just teaching them that those little half bottles that are getting dumped, and just like the overpours on the cups and stuff, they're actually killing the sewer system. So just teaching people, even the residential connections, the apartments, the businesses, everybody, that the only thing that should go down that drain is water and whatever's flushed down a toilet and goes down your shower. That's it, nothing else.
Yeah.
And Jill, were you thinking that you would just go and talk to people, or were you going to make like some sort of handout to give people, or what were you thinking about doing?
Yeah, so I already sent Ian some links to 3 different, so it used to be back in the day, you'd make a flyer. The new word is an infographic.
Yes.
So they're infographics, which function the same as a flyer, but they're digital. And it just kind of shows people. I wanted to take those, and just kind of tweak them a little bit to our need, and then kind of have like in a way, like a marketing campaign to our connected sewer users. And also, I feel like maybe we could even just do it across the town and do it on all the social media, and do maybe printouts at least for the sewer connection, because I do think a lot of it is just education.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if people had like a flyer up in front of the sink, then they would see, oh, don't do that, and help break that habit.
Right. So break the habit, but also give them a new habit, which is put it in the bucket.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So we'll work on that, and then our next meeting, we start to get into our water and sewer discussions, and so that'll be a part of that.
Yeah. So that's what I have. Just figured it's like kind of good information, kind of exciting and positive information and things to move forward with.
Is the money for the lead and galvanized pipes going to be available for Bristol East?
I don't know. So they said it's first come, first serve, and when it runs out, it runs out. So we're kind of at
So-
this point focusing on Bristol West.
So the question I have is if we knew which ones were bad, could we do them while the money's available? Could we
Uh,
change them prior to Bristol East?
I'd have to ask Steve because I believe that we did the environmental and the historical on the entire Bristol East and West. So we can have that conversation with Cindy and ask because it would be basically it's the entire water system that we've done the service line inventory for. And we know for the most part where the lead and the galvanized is. A lot of it is within those two project areas, but some of it is in our third project area as well.
Is
Which
there,
is Rockdale.
are there still some on Pine Street?
Yes, 3.
Then we want to make sure we get those in as well.
So we
that's-
definitely already included those in Bristol West. Bristol East, if you wanted to just do the customer side of this, see, here's what they're saying. They're saying if you touch the town side of the service line, you have to replace the customer side. They can't tell you how to pay for it or who's paying for it. So rather, they're saying there's another pocket of money. We'll pay for it if you do it now while the money's there. If not, or if you don't want to engage in those services, you need to figure out how to fund it yourself as a town or how to bill your customers for it or how to basically force your customers to do it. Because once the town side is replaced, you're out of compliance with their new rules if you don't replace the customer side.
Yeah, so that's been part of our discussions is to include all, this originally wasn't part of Bristol West. But, we've been really encouraged at the state level, state folks to do this because the money's here. This is our opportunity to do that and for 100%. So we're definitely including that for Bristol West. Steve's engineering that right now, looking at what that cost might be, because it might push the project over what our bond amount is. So we have to be mindful of that. And to include East would also obviously make the project cost higher. But it seems to me like this is our best opportunity to be able to replace those lines with hopefully 100% forgiveness.
It's different money.
Well, but it is different money, but yeah,
I mean,
I know what you mean.
I would, yeah.
Yes,
I
it's a
would
different
look-
pot of money on the state side, but for us, we're still taking on the project and we're adding to the project as a whole. But you're right, it is a different pot of money.
And if we were guaranteed 100% forgiveness, we could always borrow the money
Right,
to do the project.
right.
And then that way we'd be sure they'd be done when we got done.
Yeah.
I think it's,
Yeah, I mean, I think it seems like this is our best opportunity to get this done where we wouldn't have to use incentives on the town side of taxpayer funds potentially to encourage homeowners to upgrade their water lines.
and we may
won't have a
even,
better opportunity.
be able to get a smaller contractor to come in and do
Yes,
the lines in the portion that's
Yeah.
not tied to the,
yeah, it's complex because of all the rights of way, but we, as Jill said, if we touch it, we have to do it. Like we're forced to do it. And so
Uh-huh.
I think it's gonna be a lot better if the homeowner knows that they don't have to pay anything versus 4,000 or 6,000 or whatever, 2,000.
I've always, when we did Pine Street, I wanted to replace those 3 and that might have pushed us, let's say they were $3,000 a piece to do.
Yeah, we were still well under for
But we didn't get a dime because they told us we didn't spend enough.
No, I know. It wouldn't have.
it wouldn't have been enough.
Yeah.
No,
We're still going to be able to get that other side on Pine Street. And the reality is that rule didn't change to mandatory until after Pine Street. So we're kind of in the sweet spot right now to just take care of them. And they have to be engineered. They have to go into a design. And the question is, are we going to wrap it into Bristol West and wrap it into Bristol East and maybe throw Rockydale into Bristol East? Or are we going to try to do all of them as a separate contract and maybe attract a different contractor?
Yeah, I would think we could still split them out. Either way, we could split them out of Bristol West. But if the money's available and they assure us that there's gonna be 100% forgiveness, I would get them done while
Yeah, if we
the
haven't gone
money's
by yet.
available.
Yeah, so technically you could do you could do a separate contract to just do the customer side of the service line before your other projects and get all the grant money. You just have to do another.
Then we could, then if we knew it was 100% forgiveness, we'd be reimbursed before and we'd be all right with our bond.
That's a true statement too, although. Ooh, I wonder if they'd let us do 2-party checks on that one. I still, I'm gonna use that program to our advantage, let me tell you that.
To be continued.
Yeah, to be continued. Let's brainstorm with Steve and Cindy.
Okay, sounds good.
Thanks, Jill.
Thanks.
All right, onward, consent agenda. Approval of Vermont State Revolving Loan Fund loan agreement with Bristol West. Water line replacement, approval of curb cut for, is it Hummel?
Yeah.
At 18 Garfield Street. Approval of annual inspection agreement with VTUMS. I think
No, VTM.
VTM, I think we moved so that the administrator could do those,
Oh.
the reoccurring ones.
Okay.
Just for
Sure.
future
Well, that's good.
reference,
That's good to
the
know.
reoccurring
Yeah, I
ones
looked back at
that
past
were,
agendas and saw it on there, but I have to see.
yeah,
Okay.
well, we did it last year.
Oh, okay.
Just to make it easier.
Yeah,
Okay,
anything that's reoccurring that we have to have,
Okay.
it can
Yeah,
be
that
done
makes
at
it
the
easier. That's great.
administrative
So we
level.
we could scratch 5C then, and I can just approve those.
Yeah, well, we can
No,
leave it
it's
on
already
there for
under
now.
consent
That's good.
agenda, so
Yeah.
we'll just.
Approval of July 1st to June 30th, 2028, police contract and
Basin Street.
grant for Basin Street.
How much is the grant application for?
It's up to 200,000, and Free can speak a little bit about that. So we have, the loan agreement is for the final engineering costs for Bristol East,
Bristol East, Bristol West.
Bristol East.
It says
Bristol
west here.
Bristol West.
Hold on a minute.
Weren't you
So
listening
make
when I
sure
read
you
it?
get it right.
No, he was not listening to
Well,
you.
'cause I thought,
It has to be Bristol West.
well,
Isn't that the one we just did the bond
but
for?
we're years
We're
ahead,
ahead.
so I'm just trying to double check. Here. Anyway, talk amongst yourselves.
No, we
Any
got you
question-
on the roll.
any
We're gonna
questions
keep you
From
there.
you guys on the contract?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry,
Did
Bristol
you
West.
read it?
Bristol West,
No.
I apologize, yeah,
No. So
That was right then, Bristol West.
Bristol West,
Yeah,
correct.
you had it right on the agenda.
I had it
at
right.
least. Yeah.
I just
Wrong
thought
in your
I was
mind.
jumping ahead to, I already want West to be done. That's why. Okay, so that's just a sign for that agreement to continue that project moving. We just need a chair signature for that. We have the access for Hummel on Garfield Street. I don't know if people, it's right here.
Yeah, just to clean up.
And then
the-
Eric, you had a couple comments on that, I think. And it's sort of, it's access via Lawrence Lane to the back of that person's property.
Mhm.
This person's property.
Oh, hello. I do apologize. Hello there.
Right here.
But yeah, it doesn't seem anything too unusual.
Yeah, just maintenance.
Yeah. And it's just that, I guess officially, it hasn't been used before, and then you're making it more official now, is that?
Well, I've been using it for 17 years.
Oh, okay.
But just, I tell the people who live there to please don't park, so I can get through with the gardening stuff or
Got it.
whatever. But I would like to
Do
make
we
that
own
official,
Okay,
and
Do we
it'll
own
still
that
work
one?
the same.
yeah, okay,
Or is it right?
great.
So it goes all the way from,
All the way to Lawrence Lane.
So you're
So
coming in
you're
from
coming in from
Lawrence
Lawrence Lane?
That's how I get into the back property.
oh, this property.
Yeah, you have this long stretch
There's like
behind
this-
multiple.
two-
Yeah, it's
That's
interesting.
all.
Is it more than one lot? It's one lot, though.
It's one lot.
It's currently
one
one lot, yeah.
Very narrow.
Yeah,
And that's where you're looking to do the work, is Lawrence Lane, or are you looking to do work on Garfield Street? That's what I was trying to figure out.
well, it's on
It's off
Lawrence,
Lawrence
Yeah,
Lane.
off
Okay, so it's, the work is back here.
correct.
Okay.
And there's not a lot of work.
No,
It's gonna happen.
So it's access off of
Off of Lawrence.
Lawrence Lane for 18 Garfield.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So Eric, what will we do with the snow when there's gonna be a driveway at the end?
It's not a driveway as of right now. It's just
It's
so she
not a
can,
driveway, it's just so I can get in.
she just wants to level off some stuff in the back to make it more easy accessible.
Yeah.
And I did put down there, if it did get turned into a driveway, then we would have to revisit it. And stuff, so nothing major.
We just loop with the plow truck.
We could. Right down around the driveway, keep right on going.
Okay, I move we accept the consent agenda.
Did everyone have a chance to look at the police union agreement? So that was the tracked version
Were you
that I
gonna-
shared.
Ask questions?
I just, how was it? And, you know, I didn't get a chance to read that. We apologize.
Is Bruce still
Yeah, Bruce
on?
is on.
Hey, Bruce, I meant to ask you, now that this contract hopefully is gonna be approved, how does that look for your budget? Did we plan appropriately? Or did you plan appropriately?
Is there anything being invited on me,
Hold on.
Can you ask that again?
I said, if this gets approved, I'm just curious as to how that affects your budget. Did we plan enough in your budget to cover the changes that we made in this new contract?
It'll be close.
Okay. That's what I always worry about.
But yeah, so that was the document that I shared that's online. That was the tracked changes, so you could see the changes that were made. So this is my first time doing this. And previously, I think it'd been a longer process, more likely because it was sort of the first time or the second time that it was done. This was, I think, 7 meetings we had, and we've tried to move along fairly quickly and make decisions at a fairly good pace. But I thought it went very well. I think everyone involved felt it was a fairly simple process. And there weren't a tremendous amount of changes asked and made in the document. Some key things, obviously, a lot to do with
Money.
money, which is what it is. There were a few items that were
Right.
put in that were already being done that needed to be put into the contract. But I thought it was a very, very good process, and I think everyone was fairly happy with it.
Mhm. I'll second your motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further questions?
Oh, and so sorry, the last grant one, which is the new one, that was for the AOT Municipal Highway Grant. It's the AOT Structures Grant, and that's up to 200,000 for the Basin Street project with a 10% town match.
So I know Valerie, this has been her pet project for a long time, and we've been getting grants and stuff. What are we up to for money with grants that are committed? I don't want to say promise because they always seem to break their promises and
We're about 700,000 shy right now. I think.
still 700,000 shy.
Yeah. Frida, do you have a number for what do we have for grants at the moment for Basin Street?
Yes, good evening. Yes, I do. So currently awarded, we have a total of 3 grants. They all together total 526,000 currently secured. The project still has a funding gap of well over $500,000. So the AOT structures funds that I'm going for are pulling out one element of that giant project, and that is the retaining walls that are there to kind of bury them and buttress them. And so the estimate I got from Du Bois and King was about 176. So we're estimating no more than 200,000 from that grant. But I think that project stands a really good chance. So, I mean, that particular element of that project.
So if we got that grant, we'd still be close to $500,000 short to do that project.
Correct.
Yes, that is an enormous project that is going to cost a pretty penny. Yes.
We worked on some numbers last week and Ian's working to get them all separated, so we'll know right where we stand, but I don't think he's ready to present that yet.
Yeah, we're at our estimate is about 1.2, 1.3 for the Basin Street project. It's about to move to the sort of right of way permitting. But it's probably another year before construction might start. So we have time to be able to find the funds for that.
But is this though, as we keep, going, trying to raise more money to do the project, and let's say 2 years goes by and we don't even have, we're still $250,000 shy, but that 1.2 might be down 1.5 to do it because of inflation with construction costs.
It's
Potentially.
very likely gonna
Are we
be,
ever gonna catch our tail, so to speak?
yes,
Yes.
Always a possibility.
it's very
Well,
likely gonna be what's happening, yes.
Yeah.
So the question, if you do the project and have the money, can you apply for the grants afterwards?
You cannot apply for grants generally, if the project has actually started. And by started, they mean construction, or if you've begun engineering, if you're looking for engineering funds. So in essence, no, if you've started the project, generally you cannot get grant funding for it.
And so we're not starting it until we.
Well, that's the reason I'm targeting what grants I'm going for. I have to be really careful because some portions have started, the engineering and the water stuff has started, but construction elements have not. So that I'm going after construction money right now.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks
Thank
for that.
you.
I got one question on that.
Mhm.
Sure.
So you're buffering the sidewalls? Is that what you guys are doing?
It's Du Bois and King who have the proposal in, and yes, that is essentially what they're planning to do. There's a east wall and a west wall, and one will be essentially buried in place, and the other will be buttressed with. He can talk to you about the slope and the numbers, Eric, and the rocks and the aggregate that he's going to be using. You would understand much better than me, but yeah, that's essentially the plan, is to kind of lessen that super steep slope there at the base. And to leave those walls in place, but to buttress and bury.
My only concern is the sluice way for the water.
No, that's all gonna be re-engineered.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's all
Not
gonna be
with this
redone.
one, right? Or with this?
With
With
this,
this,
the whole
yeah.
project.
That's why
yes,
the
part
project's so
of-
big.
Yeah, but if
That's
they're
part of the
doing
bigger
just the
project.
walls to buffer them now.
No,
No.
no, that's
No,
what
this
the
is-
money
it's-
is for.
That's what the
Yeah.
money's.
The project as a whole,
Yeah.
this is just, we're going for a pot of money that's a section of the entire project.
Okay, so usually when I do an the reason I'm asking
Yeah.
this is, because when I do an AOT grant, I have a timeline that I have to spend the money by.
Yes,
Is this the same way?
yes.
Or,
The grant application does ask for a timeline for your project, and the date that I'm putting in is our end date for our secured grant awards, which I feel pretty good about, which I think is like the end of 2028, I believe. And having spoken with Chris from Du Bois and King, I do think that's fair to stay on track with that. I think that's accurate.
okay, I just didn't wanna
Yeah, no, I know.
lose the money,
Yes.
because they're.
I'm very aware of trying to keep the current awards secure and open long enough to keep this project going, because frankly, we all thought this project was on a different schedule than what we're being told right now. So it's being stretched out much longer than we thought it was going to be. So
Yeah.
so that's on my mind, Eric, to keep those
Okay.
awards from expiring.
Great. Thanks, Rita.
Yep.
Further questions?
I guess my only question is, could we ask Du Bois and King to look and say, where could you find $250,000 to cut out of this project? Be perfectly honest with them and say, we don't think we're ever going to catch it because of construction costs keep going up. I don't see us going to the voters for $500,000 when we're going for 7 or 8 million for water lines improvements in the next 8 to 10 years. I don't, could we say, is there anything, Du Bois and King? Absolutely, look under every stone and rock and cement wall down there and say, is there anything that could cut this project
Sure.
back?
We can definitely ask that question.
And also Brandon's local option tax, they put for infrastructure only, they set it aside for that, just an option to think about. My student's gonna do research over the summer and he'll present everything he finds.
It was
so we can see
interesting.
it.
What did I buy? Oh, I was down in Rutland though, but grinders at Gills, and on the thing was local
1%
option
local
tax.
option
and-
tax,
City
exactly.
limits.
Oh,
We'll stay with what he has.
guess
I
we're
think,
paying that.
the easiest way to do it would be to petition the legislature to have everybody have it. Because they're gonna collect the money, they're gonna keep their share anyway, and then they just
Yeah,
send it to
state
you.
gets 40%.
Yeah.
Well, we should do both, because that option will take a little bit longer. Yes, let's do both.
All right.
Okay,
All right, any further questions on the consent agenda? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Regular business, driveway alteration discussion, Daniel Lyons on North Street.
Dan, coming up.
All right.
So this is just a discussion before you put in for a potential permit to do this. You want to make sure that,
I heard somewhere along the lines that it wasn't going to get approved. And I don't know if that was from the previous select board or.
We are the previous select board.
Valerie, right? Or town administrator Valerie was like somebody I was communicating with. So I don't wanna, fork over the $200 if it was just gonna get denied. Cause there was something about a U-shaped driveway not being, approved, traditionally approved in Bristol.
We just approved. Just.
We didn't approve that. It wasn't a driveway.
that's true. That's true. You came at the perfect time.
I was listening.
So your plan isn't to close off the driveway at North Street, though?
No,
You're gonna use both?
Yeah.
I mean, that's usually what we question is the two accesses more than the U-shape.
I mean,
It's two different streets.
Right.
I heard that rumor somewhere and I don't know why, but, I think, I agree, this proposal is not a bad proposal because North Street's a busy street to get in and out.
Yep.
And Dan can come in here and go out here, very light traffic on Pine Street or.
Crescent Street.
Crescent.
Yeah, it seems safer.
It seems safer to me.
I would agree.
Are you entering and exiting from Crescent?
Probably.
To Crescent? Okay.
yeah.
If he's coming down Crescent, he'll probably go in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's going to the store, he's probably coming from
Yeah.
south of North Street, gonna
Yeah.
turn into North Street.
Yeah, I don't know
You know my
why,
patterns.
why you were told otherwise. I'm not sure.
Typically,
I actually was the one that told him that.
Oh, okay.
Typically, because there's been people that's brought applications to you guys with a U-shaped driveway and you denied them.
Okay.
Mhm.
And so I mentioned to him that he may wanna come just
Yeah.
to be
No,
on the safe
absolutely.
side.
Yeah, it's a case by case basis, and I think,
Oh, yeah.
but this one, I
I
mean,
think safety is an issue here.
absolutely. Given the speed of traffic on North Street and given how busy it is, it makes total sense, especially if you have the food truck as well and you're backing in, whatever.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot safer to do it on Crescent.
Yeah, I agree.
And you have the ability to do that with your property lines there, so. Yeah, I don't
So
see.
pay the $200 and then we'll deny
I mean, I think,
it.
I honestly think where
Yeah.
possibly that came from was a U-shaped driveway on the same street.
Yep.
Mm.
We're
And
gonna-
this is a
Oh,
U-shaped
interesting.
driveway, but
Okay.
it's different streets.
Right.
You're going out one street. I think if it was all on North Street, you want to go, when you want to go out the other.
Yeah.
I think that's where it was probably frowned about.
If I
I don't
pay this week, would I be good to start work on that? Like the first week in May?
2 weeks to our next.
2 weeks
meeting.
till the
Yeah.
next meeting,
The 28th is our
You would
next
have
meeting, which we.
everything.
Yeah, so first of May. we'll-
Yeah.
Okay.
unless we don't approve it then.
Yeah.
That's unlikely.
So we're just discussing it tonight.
Sweet, and I think I
messing with
submitted the
you.
permits already, but I'll submit another copy of those.
Well, it's,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think it's
Or we
just-
have it and we can, yeah,
hasn't been signed or filled out by Eric. but,
Right.
yeah.
Eric, you got any concerns?
No, actually, he's got good sight distance and everything right there and.
He's further away from the corner than he
Yeah.
is on North Street.
But you'll have to put in your orders.
Yeah, the only thing will be just normal, the gravel next to the road and stuff like that.
How many
But he's
feet
got good
back
sight
and-
distance, everything else is fine.
okay. Yeah, get with Eric and or AZ, and then we can sort that out. And then, yeah, we can just put it on for next, probably big
Former
consent for
owner-
next week, for
Did the
next.
former owners buy that little strip of land?
No, we did.
You did from,
Yeah.
from.
That's
guy
from
across the
Rob
road.
Ryan right across
Rob
the street.
across the road, 'cause I remember Wendell's used to own that.
Yeah.
Before Crescent Street went in.
Yep, it was a pretty, silly little slice of.
Yeah.
land.
Yep.
That he was mowing for
was.
like a little while. It was just crazy. All right, well, thank you.
Great.
Okay.
Thanks, Mark.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Alrighty, onward. Bristol Hub staff increasement request. Taylor.
Taylor, join us.
The request comes from, I had a meeting a couple of weeks ago, so we currently have a grant from the Council on Equitable Youth Justice through DCF. So we received a grant, it's a reimbursement grant for $15,000, give or take, that we got an extension through the end of September because we weren't spending it as fast as they wanted us, or we weren't spending it as fast. Because we're predominantly using it to sponsor youth gym memberships at BFit, which are very well attended and kids are really excited about. So DCF reached out to me and they said, hey, we have a bunch of extra money in this pot of money that your grant came from. Do you want any extra money? And I said, sure.
Taylor gets the most of this. I don't know why we're not getting that at this level, but-
So they fund highways.
So they said, okay, what would you want money for? I was like, we have really high attendance. We've been seeing, like, on a week, we see between 25 to 50 kids a day. Right now, there's only 2 staff there. We have a couple different volunteers that come in on different days of the week, but having additional staff would make it a lot easier for if I have to be at another meeting, or Jackie needs a day off or something like that, just to have 2 people there in the instance that there's 40 kids in the building. Just reduces that chance. So it would be the grant ends at the end of September. So I would like this person just from now until the end of August, unless we were able to secure additional grant funds to continue to fund them. It would be 20 hours a week at 21 an hour. I wrote it out. The cost would be 8,000. So then, and then estimated real cost would be 2233 if you consider like the different expenses, like what is it?
Like and all that.
Yeah, exactly. And so I asked them for $10,000 to cover the cost, the overall, but the real cost would be around 8,000, just shy of 8,000. So it covers the additional. It's a reimbursement. So I'd be submitting reimbursements, but I have around $30,000 in grants available currently to cover the cost upfront.
Great.
Yeah, I have someone that I've roughly identified who's currently a volunteer that comes to the hub that is interested in the position that I would like
That's
to.
great.
So wait, what's the 30 that you have available? As in those aren't reimbursements?
Those are not reimbursements.
Okay.
That's through a general, because we get, so we have money from United Way, we have money that just like,
Yeah.
Vermont Community Foundation just sometimes sends us checks. It's really great.
Obviously Taylor needs to come at this level. and start working.
People really like
For
community,
freedom.
people really like youth work. So it's really nice.
Yeah.
And then we have some funds from Vermont After School. And so we have just kind of a pool of money
Yeah.
that's spread out. So this will be a reimbursement grant, so we'll get the money anyways, but
You have to cover it first.
yeah, and so we have the money to cover it first.
So you said the grant ran through the end of September or to the 1st of September?
End of September.
So why are you cutting your employee off at the end of August?
Because it's the beginning of the new school year and just for like, we have the money to cover them through the end of
Well,
September.
you said it's only 10,000, so do you
Yeah,
have, if
well,
you get
that's-
them through the end of September, would that
We're
be?
2,000 shy,
Right.
and I think it's 21 an hour. It's like, yeah, we would have an extra. So I was cutting them off, thinking about reimbursements and submitting reports through the end of, so having August to submit reports and reimbursements through it. And additionally, like as we start the new school year, having a familiarity with like, okay, so this is our staff. So rather than adjusting
Having
for
an extra
3, and so if
Yeah.
I've told them, like, if you guys have more funds available and you want to give us so we continue to have this person, we'd love it. Thank you. But if not, then we would end that person at the end of August.
Sounds great. Do you need anything from us or?
I just need approval, I think.
Yeah.
Is the,
You think?
I
You said right now you're between 25 and 40.
Yes.
Does your tennis drop off when?
Schools out.
when
It
school-
does, yeah, and so I'm going to have this person support, so my focus ends up splitting because we're running camps, things like that, and supporting other things, but I'm going to have this additional person be helping with the garden system, because we have gardens which are always under maintained and poorly maintained at the hub, so they'd be supporting that.
So they're not, what you're coming in for was because you're over a lot of students there.
Yes.
25, well, that's great.
Yeah.
But here in half the program, they're not gonna be there, half the length of time you want them, they're not gonna be there from June 15th to the end of August.
The kids?
The kids, they're not gonna be as many.
Yeah, there won't be a many, yeah.
So could we have that do it till the middle of June and then do September and October. Can you do that?
No, because the
When you're-
grant.
Cause you're back
ends.
here going, I've got, all the kids have come back.
Yeah,
Yeah, but the grant ends.
I get that, but the
The
grant. was-
money's gone.
But the grant was for, because we got 25 to 40 kids we gotta watch.
yeah.
But, well, for 7 or 8 weeks, I'm gonna have them tending garden. They're gonna be hoeing and weeding and doing garden work and not tending kids, and I'm a little. Don't know if I wanna say that's not a bad thing, but I get you saying the gardens aren't as tended, but the grant was for to watch, because you've got overwhelmed with kids.
But I think Taylor was saying that like if there weren't as many kids and this person had extra time, there is more work that they could be doing, but you're going to be doing the camps.
I've been doing camps and then other, supporting so we run several camps and then also just like supporting the
So
other
there's-
camps that happen.
So from school's out to the end of August, this person's still gonna only work 20 to 25 hours a week.
Correct, 20 hours.
20 hours.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, they wouldn't be increasing because like you're saying, the work definitely wouldn't increase during the summer. It would just be a little bit different. We have the funding and I would love to be able to do that. It's a great idea. It's unfortunately the funding is like, it's a firm cutoff at the end of September.
So why don't when school starts the last week of August, you use them those 6 weeks, the last week of August and the 4 or 5 weeks in September and give them, I'll say, middle of June, from June 15th to the 15th of August, 2 months off, and say, can we get you back in 8 weeks? I know probably won't be the same person. I get that part of it. But was that looked at?
It's truthfully, honestly helpful to have the additional person there because it still runs into the fact that I might have to be somewhere else or Jackie might have to be somewhere else. So having another person like in the rotation during the summer is helpful as we navigate like different vacations and things like that.
Okay. Okay, I agree with that statement.
Yeah.
You guys all get to go on vacation, you should. so,
Yeah, and
yeah.
then I think it's also like the gardens are something that's really beneficial where it reduces our overall food costs because we have additional and then it's also free food for the community to utilize because it's available garden. So it's something that is, I don't have the capacity because of my other project going on, but having someone having someone that's available to support that when the attendance at the hub does drop off is really helpful. And historically, that's something that like when we've previously employed AmeriCorps individuals, that's what their role has been during the
So you
summer.
haven't gotten any of those.
We don't do AmeriCorps. No, it hasn't been, it's very, very labor intensive for not a lot of money from the state and the way that I don't feel like I have a good grasp of what we would need them to do and what they're able to do is so rigid where like they're not a staff person in the same way that someone we just hire as a staff person. They're not able to open up by themselves. They're not able to close, but like they don't have the same capacity as a staff person. So in the past, frankly, we haven't used it properly. So it's, I've been avoiding utilizing them. Even though it's fantastic, it just doesn't really fulfill the need that we have.
Okay. All right.
I moved that
What
we
is-
approve the request. Give our town
Guess we should
approval
have
or
had
whatever.
a motion a second. ago.
Well,
That's
I'm
okay.
sorry.
with the discussion,
Thank you
I mean,
both.
as long as we get through we're gonna have the discussion one way or another, whether it's
Exactly.
before or after, so.
So you're making a motion to approve the grant?
Mhm.
I'll second.
So we have a motion and a second to it.
Ian, has Meredith weighed in on this? I haven't heard of.
I believe so.
Yeah, she's aware of it.
She's
and
fully
it's-
aware.
Yeah,
She's, okay.
yeah,
I just-
she's in.
I haven't
yeah,
heard-
yeah.
I haven't heard.
Yeah, the fact that I was offered money for it and being like, they came to me, they're like, do you want some?
So
want
no
some money?
town funds are gonna.
Correct, there are no town funds that are going to go
I
into
like to
this.
hear
We're
that.
just giving our approval.
Okay,
To
I like
hire the
it.
person, there is
Like it.
0 town funds are going to go to this, there is no, like, at the end of August, unless I have other grants secured, that person will end their job and there's
Okay.
no town funds that are going to this.
Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the staff increase at the hub signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Thank you,
Taylor.
Taylor.
Thank you. Keep getting money for us.
Thanks.
And we'll spend it. GIS system vendor proposal consideration. AZ.
Hello
They're
there.
in person.
Yay, new person.
If you let me in, I can share my screen and do a whole presentation. After my first presentation to y'all, I went back and I got some feedback from other municipalities that use these vendors. I put a survey out to the zoning listserv, which has not only just zoning administrators, but other like assessors and municipal employees, just asking for feedback in regards to that. Can I show you screen?
Yeah. it should be.
Yeah, we should be able to. You made your co-host.
Just use your power wisely.
I'm gonna hack the system.
Wouldn't be the first
You can
time.
put that on
Any day, any given day.
So this is Bristol and GIS. It's already there, as we know.
Was it that low resolution?
These aren't spy satellites.
That's all we get.
Just a little overview of why I'm proposing this. This is J Drive here, and as you can see, there are building envelopes here that have been put in from the state E911 data in driveways, but you don't see the individual parcels that are broken out here. There are 7 new lots here, and there are houses up here, and there are different property owners, but yet that data that is publicly available and people can find is outdated and inconsistent, which results in just a lot of issues where when things aren't matching up, people get a little frustrated. It's harder to keep track of things. So switching to a GIS vendor will clear up these inconsistencies and keep us continually updated with the state. Looking at CAI, not CIA.
Can you punch in addresses and show that?
Once, well, she can't do it there, but when you're actually in the system.
When you're in this.
Oh, you just did that.
That's just a picture, yeah, that's just a
You
picture.
just brought that one.
Yeah,
I wanted to bring 68 Pine Street up and talk about it. In
Well,
40
this
years.
is- This is the kind of thing that.
Yeah,
Can
well,
be updated,
yeah.
like, if we-
Looking at the CAI, they're based out of Littleton, New Hampshire. They're a medium-sized company, I'd say, a little bit less than 25 employees. The system they use is Esri ArcGIS, which is the kind of leader in GIS technologies. And they are a partner with Esri, so they are basically using servers from Esri and are able to create their own systems, but it's ArcGIS, Esri, but CIA's version. And so they have a lot of power there. When it comes to the project, it's looking at 60 days to convert all our data and get it up to speed. And then they would also get us a web viewer within 60 days of conversion. The one thing that I did find in their proposal, which I hope was shared with all of y'all, the proposals, is that if you want to do GIS updates throughout the year, you have to pay a $250 fee, which is pricey and would add up quickly and kind of takes away from my goal of having the listers be able to just send things off to these GIS folks throughout the year, so that at the annual update, it's a really simple up to the state, no fuss.
Okay, so I must have missed that when I was reading it. $250 fee for each update you do?
A data refresh, which is like if throughout the year, annually, they'll do the data update. That's part of their annual
That's
cost.
like the $3,000.
Yep, but if you wanna, like, let's say there's a subdivision at 68 Pine Street and you wanna say, hey, we just had this subdivision, can you update this data?
Then it's $250.
$250.
Or you
So-
do it once a year when
Or
you.
you do it
I was
once
gonna
a year.
ask that.
Yep.
So if you had J Drive, Pine Street, we're gonna have over off of Pine Street
Yeah.
again. Aaron Thomas's, if you had
Yeah.
all that and said, okay, we're collecting them all in December 31st of 2025 or 26,
Yep.
we're sending them off to New Hampshire. Is
Don't-
that one?
They
Is that
get,
That's one.
don't they get the information as it comes in? And then they do it all at once, or do you
They
have to
take-
send it all at once?
We have to send it all at once. So these companies, they both do an annual update of all the data. And so they take all the data that we've done throughout the year and they do it. But with the next company, they do lot lines throughout the year. You send them the data, they'll update the data in their systems and keep the records up to date. When it comes time for the update, they'll have it all there, ready to go.
And that's
Yeah.
250.
Don't split up her presentation, so
Yeah.
we'll end
Hold
up
on, we're
getting.
walking this through.
Okay,
So
go ahead.
this company.
Sorry,
charged-
God forbid I.
So in.
No,
the-
I get it, Joel, but she's gonna, I
Yeah.
think they're gonna answer the questions
Yeah.
as we
Okay.
go
It
here.
should, yeah, should the client be using CAI's annual parcel map maintenance services, the refresh of the GIS data will be performed upon delivery of the annual map update data. Additional GIS data refresh may be provided for $250 per event.
Yeah, so if you wanted throughout the year, if you're like, oh man, we have a couple subdivisions that we
Yeah.
really should get updated, that would be $250. However, CTI provides GIS lot lines updates throughout the year with no fee. And that's the system I was talking about where the listers would be able to send a picture of a survey, lot line changes, or I could do that when a survey is, when a subdivision is approved, get those lot lines updated, even though they wouldn't be updated until the annual update at the end of the year. At least it's consistent and there's no like lost lines throughout the year. So when we're ready to update annually, all that data is just simple. It,
And it's a Vermont company.
and it's a Vermont company. They're,
Putney? Was it Putney or
Pulteney.
Pulteney?
Pulteney.
I was like,
Um,
Pulteney?
yeah, so they're,
That's why there's only 2 employees.
yeah, they're based out of Vermont. It's just 2 employees. One of the employees is the one who's actually building the program. They're using QGIS, which is a free software for ArcGIS. It's a powerhouse, most because it is an open source system. And if you are a programmer, you can design it to kind of do whatever you want. And that's what this company is doing. They have a programmer and then they have someone who's kind of maintaining these systems. And on the right here, you see their version of the web viewer, very similar to CAI in what you can do and the layer abilities. Both are very similar. Both these companies would be good options. They're both reputable. CTI looking for the project is looking at 120 days to complete. But if you read through the proposal, you can see that we have a lot to catch up on. There are a lot of errors that are in need of fixing and maintaining and getting the data so it actually is worth the money that we're putting into update and convert this data. So a little bit longer, almost twice as long as the other company, but I think they're taking that, I believe they're taking that time to really do a good job. And then when it comes for annual updates, once we get all the data to them, it's around 30 days for the data to be updated. And that's CTI.
Could I ask a question about CTI?
Yeah.
So if they're using open source software, do we have any concerns about like making sure that the data is okay? Do they have like enough data security?
They have data security and they also have insurance as well.
Okay.
Just because it's open source does not mean that it's like open, like anyone can hack into your system.
Right.
It's just that the software for the GIS programming is a lot more open source, and so you can actually, I'm in my like UVM class, they're suggesting using QGIS when you run into errors with ArcGIS because QGIS kind of has more power and more people who have put in their time and energy into this open source.
Sounds great.
Yeah, it's really cool stuff once you get into the nitty gritty. So I reached out to the towns that are above that little line are towns that I reached out to via email and heard back from. The towns below the line are towns I got feedback from on the survey. All the towns said that they loved the company they worked with. No one really had any complaints, which I wasn't really expecting. There were some feedback that CAI was, I think they.
Now, this was the okay,
CAI
CTI
and
and CAI.
CTI.
Yeah.
It's not confusing at all.
Not confusing at all. And if you accidentally say CIA, then it's even less confusing.
You've been flagged.
One on the left is from New Hampshire with
That's right,
25
that's right.
employees, and
Yep.
then a small company.
Yep, and
Okay.
CAI is the one who has a lot more municipalities that they work for in Vermont already. And that's also why I got more responses back on the survey. They just have more contacts already in the state.
Well, they've been around longer than CTI.
They've both been around like the same amount
Have they?
of time. Each town I heard back from very much, I asked them why they were digitizing, why they were moving to these vendors, what they thought of the vendors, what they thought of the customer service, if they thought the price was worth what they were paying, or what they were getting for what they were paying. And there was no one who said anything that was glaringly like, oh no, we should not go with these companies. So they have really strong foundations with the towns they work with, support from all these towns. Some minor feedbacks from CAI, but more on the fact that they're a larger company and kind of getting into more of a cog in the machine rather than CTI, which is focused more on really like a smaller customer service.
So do they have more towns than that? These are
They
just
do,
the
those are
towns
just
that
the
you-
ones that I like actually heard back from.
Okay.
I reached out to about 5 towns each, as many as I could find information on. Westford just joined, but they are in the process of working with CTI, and they said even in the process of starting up, they would recommend them right away. And I tried to get a range of folks who've been with them for a while versus not. Overall, great feedback from both municipalities. Looking at costs, the project cost for CIA is around 14,000. That's if we go with the tax map conversion, they waive the setup fee. So for the hosting, so it's just the 3,000 instead of 3,000 and then another 3,000. And then they broke it up into a payment schedule so that the price tag isn't as brunt up front. And with this pay schedule, we could pay for a large chunk of the cost before July 1st, when the Lister professional services $12,000 disappears into the nothingness.
The abyss.
The abyss, yeah. And then the rest of the money would come after that, and that can be paid for with the map maintenance and a little bit of the planning services fund. The annual cost for CIA is that fixed 3,000. That is for the service, the web viewer, and for the updates. Maintaining that is a fixed 3,000 every year. Looking at CTI, it looks like they have a little bit more flexibility in what you can choose with what you want. For the project costs, I broke it down into the different options of if we just did the correct and get updated tax maps, that would be around 15,000. But if we wanted to get the optional products, which they offer a desktop version, which is the $350 there. That's the desktop town viewer. The $450 is the web viewer, and then $800 is both. So you can choose which ones you want. You don't have to get these products. They are optional. I do highly recommend that we either get one or both.
So those prices, when I'm looking at this, I'm looking at my other job, but this is only really for in-house use. The optional products and stuff like that's really for in-house use. That's not for any tile searcher coming in here to look.
The web viewer would be for public.
Yeah, you could use.
The
So-
desktop would be for in-house. The web viewer would be for public, which is what I recommend, is that we get the web viewer because both in-house and the public can use that. And that's what I estimated into the annual cost would be the estimate they gave me for annual cost, which is the 1,115 with the addition of the 450 for the web viewer. So the annual cost for CTI is looking around $1,500. They offered a payment schedule as well. We can either do a 2-year payment or a 3-year payment, which I think are very generous offers of breaking it up. Those amounts per invoice were based off the 1480 price. So if we were to add the additional 450.
Why wouldn't we use the money that we have and then pay the rest the following year?
Oh, we can do that. This is just the payment schedule.
They're
that
just their
they
options they
provided.
gave us.
Yeah, just showing that.
They're willing to take the chance.
Yeah, and I think by CTI offering this payment schedule, they understand what it costs to run a municipality, and that's what I really have gotten from my conversations with both CIA and CTI. The CTI is smaller and very customer service based, and they also prefer to work with smaller municipalities instead of Bristol's the size of the community they would want to work with as well.
And what was your sense, like, if, after talking to both of them and doing the survey and the research and playing around with the product, do you have a preference?
Oh, yes, I do.
Oh, is that the next slide?
Well, that's after funding.
Okay.
So funding, looking at this again, we have around a little over $12,000 in the lister's professional services that was put there for hiring an assessor. Since that money is going to disappear at the end of June, I highly recommend that we use as much of that as we can before it drops back down to, I believe, $2,000. And then for the annual map maintenance, that is at $1,500 right now. I do believe that should be slightly increased for whichever company you choose with. It should be
Well, one,
increased.
it would have to be 3,000.
Yep.
Just to start.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, and that would be next year's budget, we'll have to be
Yeah.
adding it too. Yeah.
And then planning professional services has around $5,000 in, so that we can use that if we need to take a little extra money from somewhere in order to finance this until the budgets can be increased. And that brings me to my recommendation, which is CTI. I do believe that they're the right fit for Bristol and what we need currently, and what we will be needing in the future. I got to meet Susan, the listers got to meet Susan, who's one of the two people that work
Who
for
was the other one? Because Mark something? I saw the two names and I was like, I don't know what name sounds really, really familiar to me. And
I did not get to meet Mark. Mark is,
Is it Mark? I don't remember what the other's name, but when I saw the name, I was like,
yeah.
His name
David
sounds-
Greenwald.
Greenwall?
Well, I think you had Joel and I with this recommendation because it was the cheaper option.
Yeah, that's another reason why I'm like, it's a multifaceted recommendation. I do believe that the software that they're offering is what we need. I think they have a lot more flexibility and understanding of what small municipalities need in regards to funding and the services they provide.
And the updates.
And the updates as well. And I also talked with Susan after the first meeting when I was talking about a backdoor into their software. That was incorrect. Poor phrasing on my part. Because they're QGIS, that allows them they would be able to create a project for me that I could have a little bit more hands-on with that they don't normally give to other municipalities. But they were willing to work with me on that, which was really exciting. Which would allow me to kind of do some GIS work with water lines, with trees.
Doesn't mean you're gonna end up leaving us to go to work for them,
Yeah.
does it?
Bingo.
Okay. He did not say no.
You have me for 3 years. You have me for 3 years.
So I have a question. I was
Yeah.
reading through some of the things that their recommendations were, and one of them was having the lot lines follow the roads and making the roads 3-rod wide right of ways.
Mhm.
So I have two concerns with that. Well, first of all, not all our roads are 3 rods,
Yep.
you know that. Second
Yep.
of all, a lot of people's property descriptions say to the center of the roadway.
Yep.
So if they take it back, does that then mean the listers adjust the land size? And does that then mean we get reduced taxes, reduced assessments?
So, I mean, that's their recommendation, but it's our mapping,
Mhm.
you know? So if we say, no, we want you to map the roads to the road width, because that's where property lines start,
Yeah,
that's where property
When
lines start.
when they survey now, they take it out.
They take it
Because
out when
we
you survey.
lost, I don't know how many acres between North Street and Plank Road.
Oh, that's
To
interesting.
to the center of the road, we lost 25 feet all the way around
well,
there.
right.
Yeah.
Because technically, I mean, it's yours, but technically it's
Yeah.
right away.
Right.
Yeah, so that's another question you get into, like, with
Mhm.
state right of ways on like
Mhm.
116 where, yeah, you.
Yeah,
might-
the
it
state
might be
only
sad.
owns a couple of roads.
Yeah.
They don't,
Through town here.
most
Yeah.
of them are just right of ways.
So for that's start getting into.
That was just my thought. When
Yeah.
I started reading that, I was like,
Yeah.
whoa, wait a minute.
And I mean.
Do we need to understand this better?
Yeah, and not all roads are 3-rod roads,
Right.
so roads that are
We got
2 and 1
2-rod, we got some that are
would
4-rod, but-
be mapped that way, because what you would take the road center line data and then essentially create a buffer, which makes the road width. And then that's depending on the size of the road, that's the size of the buffer that you would create, and that would create that. I think CTI, their proposal, they really truly went through our data and showed what we needed. And I feel like they are the company that moving forward would be able to not only financially benefit for us. But tax map wise, public visibility of data access, I think it would help the listers by being able to just email lot lines, and so that they're getting some work taken off their plate, especially like as assessing gets more and more, making things ease is important.
Yeah, I think it's a great tool. It will be good for the planning commission, it'll be good for a lot of people.
Yeah,
I guess I don't disagree, we need something, because I'm in full swing in this, but, I have a real hard problem with, I haven't heard from the listers that say, yeah, you can take 12,000 out of our budget. Cause they're not done, their year yet, they may be
Well, wait,
overpriced,
Sharon talked about it when.
I talked to Mark.
and we haven't heard from planning, planning board,
Yeah.
Kevin and them, and and that's where I have a problem with that, because, Eric didn't come in a month ago and said, well, we ordered the new truck and I'm 20,000 short, but I see Brett's got 150,000 his truck replacement fund, so I'm gonna take 20,000 out of his budget.
yeah,
Departments don't do that.
no,
No, I just said, they don't, and I would like to see us do this in the budget next year, for sure, if we could wait.
I've talked with Mark and I've talked about the lister services, and when I brought that up to him, he was like, oh wait, we need that for salaries, and I said, okay. But that, he came to me and said, that was incorrect, that money is there, and I do agree, if they need that money before the end of their season, yeah, we can wait 6 months if you'd like.
I'd like to at least wait till June and see where we're at.
No, because then you lose the money goes to
Right.
undesignated.
Yeah.
fund.
No, June 1st, not June 30th.
I mean, my question is, this task used to be the lister's job.
Yeah.
So you're taking it off the lister's plate of dealing with the mapping. So borrowing the money from that is not a big deal.
It's not borrowing, it's.
Don't you be thinking we're paying this money back. But Chris, you're seeing somebody who was directly involved in this.
Oh, I know.
40 years, the property that I bought, the map got filed in 1984, and I got a tax bill this September for the lots that hadn't been owned in 41 years, and I still got the tax bill for it.
Yeah.
And it never got changed, never got changed. And I want this to happen, to change, but why didn't it ever get changed? Who the hell knows?
My parents paid on 85
acres, they only own 60. Yeah.
And Myra paid the same kind of thing. She had like, she was taxed on
And I-
60 something acres.
I want this, but I just worry about how we're gonna, I don't wanna hear from that office in a few weeks and said, we gotta, Pomelo has taken us to court because they gotta have it real, I'm just gonna, speculation.
But that would be legal fees if we went to court.
Yeah.
We have a legal.
Sharon, what did you,
What was your conversation?
Yeah.
you got cut right off. so
She
You
said she
have,
talked to
you
Mark.
have the floor.
No, when I talked to Mark and he said that was overflow for their salaries. It's like, Mark, you haven't even spent half your salary line. And we only have,
2 months,
No, few
2.5
months
months left.
and they don't plan on using the assessor that they budgeted that money for.
Right.
And this makes sense, because we do need updates. Our tax maps are still not right.
Terrible.
And,
And we just nixed the assessor. Did we
Correct.
just do
Yeah.
that?
So,
Yeah, we just nixed
yeah,
them.
Aleph
Yeah.
Hestock, he was contracted, and that's why that
Money
budget
was there.
item
Yeah.
was so high. But
But
it
they
ended up,
didn't
the
use
total
it.
cost was only about 4,000.
yeah,
To
they
pay
didn't
him.
use them how they thought they were going.
Yeah, and he contacted us,
And so
wanting
you-
to be released from the
Right.
contract because he had other work he had to do.
Right, and I don't see
And
them,
Mark agreed with that, and so the reason why it's sort of that pot of money is there was because we put it in, but our budgeting for this time around is much less. It's there right now in the budget. It will go back to unassigned funds come July 1st.
So, I mean, we could use that money to pay that portion of it, and then the rest gets paid the next year. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't have to wipe everything out. I
Yeah.
mean, the 5,000
Okay.
planning, I don't know if that was
That
for,
was-
is that the attorney fees, or was that
That's
for?
professional services.
professional services,
And I put that in there just saying like, because I do think GIS mapping
It
belongs.
is a professional service.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
it
so
is.
if there was a need for someplace to bring funds in a short term,
I mean, and
I just feel if we can pay for it with money we have in this
Right.
budget cycle, that
Right.
it should be paid for. We shouldn't be kicking it down the road.
No,
Right.
but if we, God forbid, if we'd ever hear from our auditors and we'd said, you know, you got $200,000 from 2 years ago, we could take it, but are we ever gonna,
We know this money's there.
we know this money's there.
And I
And I know that being in that office for 15 years, they're not gonna use it between now, only if they have hundreds and hundreds of grievances, they gotta have a lot of hours, and trust me, I've been down that road.
and
But they're not gonna use it, excuse me, Daisy, they're not gonna use it for, well, we still gotta do a huge appraisal on, you know, all the apartments over there. The appraising done is all done now, between now and June
Right.
30th. So,
Right, it's the whole discussion on this whole project and switching to the system hasn't been done in a vacuum. Conversations have been had at every level regarding this. It's not something that AZ is presenting to us just because they're interested in doing this and they want to get it done. It's
something she
Well,
wants to do.
it's
It's something
everything.
they wanna do to train for the next job.
a lot of truth there too. A lot of truth.
I can't, I'm sorry.
I
You just
don't
gotta-
wanna do the programming part. I'm learning that right now. and It's too much
Right.
Python code.
Yeah, so the money's there. It's not a tremendous amount of money in the scheme of things. And I think it's a much needed service. And I think it's the beginning of being able to use this technology in really interesting ways for the town.
Exactly.
Since, you know, at the moment, as AZ mentioned, with the water line project, even just having those kind of details about our entire system on a layer in this.
That tells us where all our curb boxes are.
Like, that's very useful. And that's obviously, you know, that's sort of down the line, but this gets us
So,
into the system in a really interesting way. And we have someone who's supporting this, who's really interested and is
Yeah.
excited about this.
No
So-
I will also say, if, once you switch to GIS, if it turns out that CTI in 5 years is, we've outgrown them and their needs, since the data is already in yes, Jill, yeah.
Jim would love the
Um,
water and sewer. Yes.
If in 5 years, 10 years, CTI is no longer.
Ambitious.
meeting our needs.
Yeah, it would be so much easier now that the data is in GIS to
To
switch to
convert it.
another vendor, switch to another vendor.
Cause
And I
it's
also-
it's our information.
Yeah, it's our data. So it's the same thing with LaRose. They maintain our data. I was able to just email Kevin. I said, can you send me our current data? He sent it to me and I was able to send that to the RPC, but that's CAD files, as I already talked about, and the incompatibility there.
I lost my train of thought, hold on. So Steve's, all this water line we're gonna be doing.
Mhm,
So he's gonna have a stack of maps, they're gonna be that, a big, great big roll, we get all done.
mhm,
For every street and every
Mhm.
curb stop and where every line is,
Mhm.
hydrant and everything.
Mhm.
They will be able to take that and put it into a
mhm.
GIS.
Even more easily than the tax map, because Steve is doing geolocations with each of those curb stops.
Okay,
So he's keeping them in CAD files, but because those curb stops have geo markers, taking that data and putting it into GIS is gonna be so much easier than the tax maps, which are held in a static CAD
okay.
file.
Now I'm gonna hit a nerve with the person on my right.
Oh. You?
Hold on, hold on.
We're both
Is-
on his right hand.
Oh.
Attorney offices come in, paralegals come in and do a lot of research,
Mhm.
do title search.
Mhm.
And you'll see it in your, you'll see it when you buy in property,
They would,
and they pay Sharon, okay, I got, they used to win my, on air here, I got 10 pages of tax maps and deed copies and all this. And shut up, and all that, and, you know, they walk out, they pay Sharon $8.50 or $9.
Mhm.
I don't know if they still do that, but.
Yeah, you pay it online now.
Do you pay?
We don't
can
come
this-
in here as
okay,
much
can-
anymore.
Gregory, sorry,
We still have people who come in.
but no, can,
We do come in.
and so they now sit on the computer and get this stuff.
Mhm.
Can,
So-
is there a fee for it? Can we charge them a fee for this? and we pay some money?
so,
God
We-
forbid we make a little money.
Will there be external use for those types of
Right.
people?
I don't know.
Or is it just internal when they're here that they can use?
Thank you, Sharon, you put it just the way I want. it.
yeah, so that's if we got the desktop version. If we got the desktop, we could put it onto the title search computer as well. The web viewer would be public accessible, but that's pulling property cards. You're not gonna find deeds linked to that.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
more.
we already get some of that stuff, so, you know,
Yeah.
like a lot of times it, when I start to do a title search, I look at the parcel maps or
Mhm.
whatever, and I look to see, okay, who's around, I get the lister card, or I get the property card, so we have an idea of what. And it saves us from having to call the lister and say, can you
Yeah.
send me the lister card?
Yeah.
Well,
Cause a
and
lot of
that-
times they're now scanned, so,
And will they,
and they're more current, they're
and
current.
we'll know, well, there's a water line deed that runs,
Mhm.
there's a water line that runs
So-
across your property, or this or that, will those be?
It depends.
It
If there's an
depends.
easement, if there's an
Yeah.
easement for a water line, that may not be in
If
there.
it's written in a survey or if it's recorded, that could be kept in, but a lot of these web viewers are mostly maintaining parcel data in the lister cards, which is why an attorney can look on the web viewer, find abutting neighbors, find the parcel ID, and then if they have to come to the land records here and pull the actual deed, they would still have to pay the fee.
Right.
Okay, so with Sharon's fees, she puts in her budget fees for,
Those-
title work.
She still gets those.
Yeah,
But would that decrease?
No,
because folks still have to come in, because the deeds aren't being scanned in, I mean. the
they're
ones that are-
scanned in, but they're not
scanned in,
here.
But they're in a different
Different
software,
software,
and I
yeah.
get money from that.
Okay.
So if
Record
I
of.
do it from outside, then I get a fee I get the money for people
Okay.
who
Yeah,
Right.
do it out there, but if they're here, they still gonna pay me $1 a
Right.
page or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But if they get the stuff for the water lines and these other lot lines, they're not gonna pay you $1 a page.
Not for but we wouldn't pay for that anyway. most of the
this
time.
is what this web viewer is very similar to the Vermont Interactive, which I showed you before, where it's simply giving you the information of where the property lines are,
Yeah,
the parcel ID, the lister information of what type of property it is.
It's basically
the
just like the
span.
card information.
It's the
Yeah.
lister card information. It's not, there are ways that you can connect it to the Vermont Survey Library where you can connect it to surveys, but those are external things that you can
Okay.
connect to it. Sharon's not losing any money.
I like this
Maybe a
idea.
little bit of money, but.
Make a motion.
Oh, I move that we go with CTI
And we use the funds.
as outlined in the slideshow.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Thanks, Heath.
Okay.
Thank you,
Forward.
Izzy.
We can't wait to see like a little tutorial where you show us what we have.
Oh, I'm very excited. Thank you, folks.
Anything
Thank you.
else while you got us?
Actually, yes, it's involving FEMA flood maps. I know, not fun. I attended a workshop where they brought up the new digitized flood maps, which is very exciting if you like maps. Maybe not if you, when you.
Are
think
they
about the-
current?
Yeah, the data, one of the data layers is the old flood maps from 100 years ago. or
Right.
not as much.
They got flooded out.
But just a little update, FEMA is working on digitizing the flood maps for our area. There is gonna be a preliminary hearing to approve those maps coming up and beginning of May, I think, or in the next 3 months is when things are happening, but right now is the time for reviewing the maps. If there's any errors, making those comments known to the US Geological Survey and FEMA so that they can correct them before they go to preliminary. I have printed out copies of those maps in my office for anyone who wants to look at them, and I can also help you understand what they mean.
Once those new maps are approved and whatever, somebody rubber stamps them,
Mhm.
they can go into this program we just.
Yeah, so right now, the FEMA data for our area is still the old paper maps. This new digitized data would be able to, we could take that and put it as a layer,
An overlay.
an overlay,
Okay.
exactly.
So when's the hearing or when's the?
I will have to get back to you on the exact
I
date.
figured
It's
you'd tell
it's
me
for
no, it
about
can't
3
be,
months.
because it's a federal
There's-
program.
yeah,
It couldn't go in with that. I figured you'd tell me that. It's a federal program. No, it won't. They don't mesh together.
No,
okay.
no, that's the
All
whole
right.
point about GIS. It's supposed to all
Yeah.
interact. But that's just a little heads up, because it hasn't reached preliminary yet, but that does impact flood insurance, those flood maps. So just something to keep on your radar. It's on my
And
radar as
zoning.
well. Very exciting though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Izzy. Yeah, so they have in the CTI's quote, they have a link to their town view software for the town of Montgomery. And so if you can click on that link and that'll show you
Just see
similar
what
to
it
the
looks
parcel
like.
viewer, and you see all the details. And one of the layers is flood mapping and flood area information.
You could tell Ian's been testing it out.
Well, it's a lot of good, really good
It is.
information.
Yeah.
Very helpful.
Great.
Yeah.
Briggs Hill Road update.
Okay, so
It's
this
like
will be a big one.
Cat claws.
Yeah. Let me share this and then we can sort of do a bit of history. And then I'll have Frida sort of update you on the FEMA side of things, just in terms of the discussions that have happened there. Let's get into this.
Who's on the iPad?
Mary Holland. I've already asked her.
Okay.
Okay, so.
Another
It's
going
done.
on. There we go. Oh, that's lovely.
Very slow. So Briggs Hill is back on the discussion because of a couple reasons. More damage has occurred since the last time we talked about it, which wasn't that long ago. And we're being asked by FEMA if we are going to commit to the project. And currently, the
Give us
last,
more money.
right, the last meeting that we had with FEMA talked about the project coming in around 2.1 million. And that's with the engineering that was done by Du Bois and King that we previously looked at. And that includes the 150,000 that we've spent on that engineering. More than likely, because of what's happening at the federal level, it could be more than that. This project is at least a year away if we decided to approve it and do it. So that it more than likely it would be more expensive. It would be higher than 2.1, it might be 2.2, 2.3. If we had to borrow money for the project, if we decide to do it, again, you'd incur interest on that, and that would make the project even more expensive.
And that's, the interest isn't reimbursable, is it?
No.
And it's unclear if FEMA will exist in its present form for too much longer.
Right. I mean, there's a lot up in the air to commit to this. So this, I took these today. This is what it looks like at the top of the road. This is gonna update. There we go. Good. That's what it looks like coming in from down below. So, bye. Thanks, Daisy.
Thanks.
Thanks,
So-
Izzy.
Look
Thank
at
you.
all the little green plants coming up in the, the pavement.
Okay, yeah, I know. So this is what it looks like. And Eric,
Dandelions, those are called, Michelle.
Eric has mentioned this before, but we've had more damage up here with the water. This is why the stone and gravel is here to sort of create sluices to be able to move the water to the other side
Oh,
of the
those
road.
stones are way up
Yeah.
there. Okay.
These are the blocks that were put in by Driscoll about a year and a bit ago. That was a $20,000 project that we did.
What's the
receive
ones
FEMA.
across the road?
The ones across the road were the ones that removed, because you can see that there's not much
I
there.
can't see when you're pointing there. You
Oh,
have to
sorry,
point up there.
there.
Which one you're looking. at.
Sorry, I need my laser pointer.
You're right.
Well, you can see the stack of blocks on the
Yeah.
left-hand
Mhm.
side. There's not much at the bottom. So the emergency measures that were done about a year and a bit ago, unfortunately became undermined, and we lost a few down the hill. You can see the top
Yeah.
right slide.
Mhm.
And the ones on the side of the road are ones that Eric and crew moved to prevent them from sliding down the hill. Luckily, we had trees that prevented them from going further. We do have a stack of blocks
Down the bottom.
down at the bottom that
Just stops the dirt.
Hopefully would
Like,
stop.
stops the dirt, that
Mhm.
could potentially stop blocks if they
Mhm.
started to go down.
Oh, I see.
So it's definitely in rough shape. It doesn't appear to me, and I think Eric might agree, there's any way we can reopen this for this summer, just because of how much has been undermined. This is just one section. The project itself was two sections. The other section's further down, not as in bad shape as this, but this is really bad.
Yeah.
And it makes it even just having a one-way or a one travel lane almost impossible.
Unsafe, yeah.
especially because it would just continue to undermine any sort of movement of this gravel to open it up. Just opens it up to any storms that we might have in the coming months, which would just continue to erode this area. These are the blocks at the bottom, the wall. And then this is further down, the one on the right, left-hand side, that's further down, closer to where it's been blocked off. But it's still, this is being undermined for fairly large.
About
large
150 feet, is that what we?
Yeah. And I'm sure, given time, it may start to look like the top section.
Whoever thought to put this road up there?
Yeah, it's.
Well, you know, we had this conversation the other day, and it's like the Lincoln Road. The Lincoln Road started out as a road for a horse and buggy, you know, and then they decided they wanted horse and
Two
buggies.
horses in a buggy.
Yeah,
Two
so they
buggies.
made it a little wider, and then they decided we're gonna put motor vehicles up there, and they made it a little wider, and then we started putting
And we're about the
18
same
wheelers
spot.
up there, and now you've got 20 to 22 feet of road surface when you started out with about 10.
Yeah, and you're building near the river because that was the flat section
Right.
versus digging a mountain.
So not that this would help. If we were to remove all the pavement, that's not gonna help the erosion. That might even make it
It would
worse,
probably
right?
make it worse.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to keep the hill graded.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't even thinking using it as a road. I was just
Oh,
thinking
just
tearing it up and
putting
leaving
back.
it, yeah,
Grassing it.
yeah.
You
Putting
would
it as
have to
like
put some
water
check
bars.
dams in the roadway,
Right.
Yeah.
and then, yeah.
Eric, what's I know I talked with you this morning about, the signage and be too much and the lights every month and all that cost of them.
It's about 5,000.
What's the possibility to make it one way coming down?
No,
Mm-mm.
not even gonna deal with that.
Okay.
I
Just
mean, if you've
that.
got one way coming down, people are gonna go up
They're
it.
gonna go up both, yeah. That's my main reason for not having to deal with it, cause like Michelle said, if you decide you wanna make that one way, let's just say, for example,
I was thinking summer only.
summer only, you're gonna have people that are gonna be going up it, no matter if it's coming down or going up. They're gonna use it both ways.
If I lived at one of those driveways
Yeah,
at the
you're gonna
top of the
go up
hill,
and
I'm
down
not
that.
gonna go up around if it's
No,
open.
me either.
Yeah, you're right there, Peter.
Mhm,
And then they're gonna meet in a bad spot, possibly,
mhm.
and
Okay.
I'd
I
rather
hear
not
you.
take a chance.
Yeah, I mean, we could, even if you did that and people were using it correctly, you're still running on this surface that is slowly eroding. So
Well, we
if
don't,
got a
like,
big
the-
storm.
Guardrails are in the wrong place.
Right.
Yes, exactly.
They aren't gonna stop anything.
No.
Yeah, you run that risk of something greater happening, or, eventually, if it is opened, more of the road will erode, past the center line.
The
And so it
eroding
makes-
of the road.
the eroding of the road. So it makes it completely impassable.
So the 2.5 million or whatever, 2.2,
2.2 at the moment, yes.
if we got FEMA, what is the money that we need to come up with?
90%. It would cover
Well,
90%.
so it's 90%, so it's around 251 that we'd have to come up with. There's potential, looking back at the notes prior, there seemed to be the potential to having the state cover half of the 251.
Or
But-
5% of the
Yeah.
10?
But the main thing is, it's because this is FEMA, it's all reimbursement. So we need to have
We have to pay it
two
upfront.
point two million available. The same with all of our projects. I think we were always very excited about doing grants. And because it allows us to do these projects, but so much of them or almost all of them are reimbursement. It's very rare that we get something that we can immediately bill for or have it sent to somebody else to pay the bills before we do. And so while we like grants, when you have a stack of them, the amount of money looking ahead for the next 5 years, we need 2 or 3 million in the bank to do the project, just the few projects that we're doing. Hang on one second. So that's the thing, like, even though we are gonna get, or have been told it's 90% and then half of that could be paid, we still need to have all of that upfront.
Yeah, we have to pay the invoices and then wait for reimbursement.
Correct.
And that could take a while.
Jimmy,
What's the pros and cons of closing that road altogether? Is there any legalities involved?
For good, you mean?
Do what?
For good, you mean?
Yeah. I mean, how many people does it affect?
well, it depends on how you look
I
at
mean,
it.
the liability.
There's like 8 houses in Bristol,
Mhm.
but it affects all the people up in Lincoln that come that way,
Mhm.
that come down that way, down from Quaker Street down. It's a busy road,
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
you know, I would say it's probably equal as busy as in front of your house, wouldn't you, Eric, when it's open?
When it's open, yeah, there's quite a bit of traffic that actually uses that road.
Think of it this way, Jimmy, where you live. If we said to go to the upper notch, everybody from the upper notch, you gotta go to Lincoln to get the upper notch. We're gonna, from the high bridge
Big
up,
inconvenience.
from the high bridge up, we're not, to LaRose's camp, we're not gonna do it anymore. We're tearing the road up. That's about the same, not, there's more houses on the upper notch than on Briggs, on the Briggs
It's
side,
not important.
is a Bristol side. About same.
They've
amount
all
of traffic.
survived this winter.
Well, I really don't think that our residents are upset about it because it's eliminated all the traffic.
Well, there's
I
some
think
that might
that-
be a little upset who have horses that have to go a long
That-
way to pick their hay up.
Yeah,
But,
but at the end of the day, you know, there's not cars coming down through there.
Mhm.
And they travel right along.
35, 40 miles an hour.
You're not gonna say they're speeding, right?
No.
Mary Yates in the comments says, love the reduced traffic.
I'm surprised we don't have people from Lincoln here.
Yeah, I sent it to everyone who's on the list prior to that.
Is Mary the only one?
No, there's a few other people on
I'm
the
gonna
list.
say, I think once you get off the slides, you might see, there may be a couple from Lincoln on there, I'm not sure, but I don't recognize.
Well, I mean, the issue here for us now is like Eric is maintaining the road all the way down to where have you been maintaining and plowing the road?
Just up, well, never mind.
Sorry.
Well, I know, from the top of Briggs Hill
Yeah.
to where?
So where Ian showed the first slides,
Mhm.
where the barriers are.
Yeah.
Plow down to there.
Mhm.
And then I turn around, we made a turnaround down there, plow down there, turn around, and then I go back up.
Yeah, but you're
We're maintaining
plowing
all the way to
Lincoln,
Lincoln Road,
on the
though, right?
Lincoln Road.
Yeah,
Right.
I told Lincoln that I would maintain this winter. All the way from, basically, I go where we used to turn around at Eagle Park.
Mhm.
I go all the way up through Lincoln Road to, Atkins Road.
And you do
And
all
then I
that.
turn on Atkins, yeah, and I do that, I turn on Atkins Road, and I go from there all the way to there.
Right.
Yeah,
And
which
then
is
back,
just past, it's just down the hill past the last
Right.
house.
Yeah.
Last
So
property.
that was discussed when we originally closed it last winter. I mentioned that I would maintain it for this winter. See how it goes. If we're gonna further maintain it, then I'm probably gonna go to Will and see if maybe we come up with an arrangement that, seeing as how they're coming down Colby Hill, that they maintain the dirt part of it. I'll go up to the Green Bridge with paving. or
Yeah.
Plowing, and turn around there and go back down, and they maintain our section of
Atkins, they do Atkins.
Briggs, yeah, Colby Hill, Atkins Road, and Briggs Hill. Seeing as how they're coming down Colby Hill anyways with the dirt, they could just keep going over, but I would have to make sure that they would be able to utilize that turnaround, cause when I sent Colby up there with a Mac a couple times, it was a little tight for him to turn around there with the tandem.
Yeah.
So I would just have to make sure what they're using for a truck and make sure that's gonna
We
fit.
might have to make a bigger turnaround or.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, it's obviously serves a number of houses. But there are other options to exit through Atkins Road down to Lincoln Road. You know, some of the arguments that we've heard before in terms of closing this, the worry when we in meetings was that if you lose
Lincoln.
Road. And so I think, and there's a combination of things in that you know, we have a certain amount of that road and Lincoln has a certain amount of that road. Driving it today, after taking these photos, you know, we've obviously just done the Lincoln Road bank stabilization project. So we're looking pretty good there. There is another section that, you know, when you're looking at it, the guardrails look good, but it's awfully close to the water. And, you know, I think it's something that we should probably need to look at in the near future. But when you start to go into Lincoln, there's an awful long section where all the guardrails about 45 degrees. And so, you know, I hope they're looking at that too, because it's, you know, if they lose a section of it, you know,
The whole thing's gone.
it's the same as having us lose a section of it.
Yeah.
And that's outside of this road. So, you know, there's a lot to think about. Personally looking at this, I definitely think we should look at our section of the road and make sure that it's not going to fail anytime soon. Obviously, big storms are a big worry, and they can cause disasters that we can't foresee.
Unforeseen.
That's right. But if we manage it as best we can, I think we will get, you know, a very good amount of time out of that road, especially with the repairs that we're doing.
So I don't like the amount of money per residence impacted by it. Like, I don't like that calculation. But it will cost something to stabilize the road and make it safe, right? Like, we can't have debris raining down on the road
Right.
below. So I mean, there is a cost. It's not that we can't do anything. We have to do something. The question is just, do
Well,
we repair the road or do we stabilize it so that everything's
Stabilize.
safe?
They've mitigated the problem by putting these check dams in and diverting the water off the road so it's not running.
So this is stable then, like nothing more would need, if we abandoned this section of the road, nothing more would need to be done?
No,
I would, looking at
I wouldn't say
today,
nothing.
I would say that the blocks that were put in by Driscoll a year and a half ago would need to be removed
Okay,
at the top here, to make sure that none of those continue to fall.
as of right now, Driscoll's, when they removed them blocks, they went down and checked the bottom ones. And they're, according to them, they're sufficiently stable as of right now.
Okay, even the one that's,
Even that one right there in the corner, that corner you're only talking is only in this far.
oh, okay,
And you got the rest of the block, plus you got 1, 2, 3, 4 of them on top of it. So in order for that block to go, that whole column
okay,
would have to go.
okay,
But anyways,
yes,
so back to your question,
Mhm.
it helps mitigate it, like Peter said, but if you get like a torrential downpour, no matter what we do on the road, the water is still gonna hit the bank.
Mhm.
Well, coming out of the skies, hitting the bank.
Right, and there's nothing that we can do about that,
Mhm.
unfortunately, unless we put a rain dome over it.
I mean, do you foresee if a decision was made to close this road for maybe an undetermined amount of time, and it's just left like this, you've got your gravel material here to sort of create,
Yep.
how much more damage do you foresee happening? Like
If it's just rainwater, we could probably jute mat it and get some grass to grow there so
Right.
that we didn't lose
Okay.
anything.
All right, which would then prevent any,
Erosion from
That side.
from the rain.
Right,
yes.
from the rain.
But as you said, there's still obviously some hitting this, but I think it's just the sheer amount coming off the road and washing down is really the main
Yeah.
culprit here.
Is
Now-
Judy matting, is that too steep for Judy?
You'd have to pin it.
Because, I mean, we've been reported now that, we spent $250,000, 300,000 on West Street. Is it holding? It's sliding now towards the river.
That we haven't been, that's been mentioned to us, yeah.
So,
I
you
haven't
know,
looked at that
I don't know which one is more steeper.
No,
Doesn't
that
sound-
one is-
Yeah, West is higher than
Street
this.
is definitely-
But I mean, at this section, it's not particularly steep. You get steeper as you go down to the next section.
I think that the biggest thing is just stopping when it's raining, stopping the water, the water from
Just
backing
pouring
it and
off,
getting,
right?
Yeah.
getting it to roll.
Make it like a river down over it.
Yeah, there's really not, it's like 50 feet. There's not a lot of area there. It's 100 and something feet long, but it's only 50 feet tall.
Yeah, my other thought was to scrap the engineering and
Do it
we'll just
ourselves.
keep the cost of it and then do it ourselves and stone it like Peter had made the design to do.
Well, that's what I was
Whether
wondering, if we
get
did 3
Peter
steps
or
down through
another
there.
contractor. And just stone it up and crib it ourselves and be done with it.
The thing is, you're gonna have $500,000 into it. You got $170 into
Engineering.
engineering.
153 now, that's what we've spent so far.
Okay, so you got 153 that we're gonna lose, and then you're talking probably
4,500.
253 to fix it.
Cause I was asking Eric this morning, I don't know if you've been, or many of you have been up Route 7, I saw these huge blocks up where Bird's Eye's shop is. I mean, bigger than this table, and they couldn't put it in this room.
Huge.
They're
They're
huge.
huge.
What if something of those size blocks were put down the bottom and then third of the way up and then another third of the way up? And you don't have much to slide before it hits something else again.
Well,
I mean, I think of.
what Eric and I had talked about was going down below where that block is there
Yeah,
and
the one
starting with rocks the size of this table and coming up.
Pointing them
And-
in.
Yeah, you
But
key
then
them in.
FEMA
and-
won't cover any of that, right?
They would have, because it would have been mitigation, they would have paid
Yeah.
for it if we'd just done it, but we decided to have it engineered, so.
Well, FEMA.
Next time we
had-
do it first and ask
I
for
guess-
forgiveness.
FEMA had recommended to do the engineering. We had gotten quotes, different ways of doing it at sort of 3 different levels. And then FEMA's suggestion was to have it engineered, just because
Of course
they
it was.
need to be able to know that
And
it's
I-
gonna do what you
Right.
say it's
And
gonna
I
do, if they're gonna pay for it.
Totally understand why, I was a little miffed that they wouldn't let us get it re-engineered with a different plan, but
Yeah,
if you stop and think about, well, that plan's too expensive, let's re-engineer it, and you
Yeah.
spend another $100,000, and that plan ends up being
The same amount of.
$100,000 less, you're no further ahead.
Yeah.
So
And
I
I think that-
get that.
I think of the upper notch, where the slide was all engineered, but remember the state gave us money, and guess what? It's still sliding. Mother Nature will do what Mother Nature wants to do.
There's way more to that than.
Yeah.
That
53,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
was not
But what
engineered.
was the?
That wasn't-
what
No,
do we
that-
have left?
That was my design, but
Okay.
it wasn't done.
Cost for the
It
estimated
was,
solution.
Well, the money is-
actually you and Ashley
Yeah,
combo
Right.
made that.
and it wasn't done the
It's
way
high-
we
no.
designed.
Cover
Right.
90%.
Cause we couldn't dig the bank back. the
Will
way
they do
that it
the
was
engineering or
designed.
we
too hard.
just
No.
pay for that?
I would pay for that, but again, we need all that money up front. That's the
Right.
biggest.
See, yeah, we only, 250 is all we need if we proceeded,
Yeah,
but we need
They don't,
2.5 in the bank
yes.
to
Oh, so
start.
They
so
won't
2.5
cut the
and
checks.
we don't cut,
Until we're done.
right, and they don't cut a check for
Maybe we get
18 months and
reimbursement.
that 2.5 million
Well,
on interest,
I'll tell you one
is the
thing.
interest, is that reimbursable?
No,
No, it's not.
No, the interest
We
isn't.
pay the.
So Starksville just got their check from Browns Hill. That's been 2.5 years.
Mhm.
so if we had to wait,
I'm glad you got that.
So
if
have
we
to
had to
sit with
wait
that
2.5
much.
years.
Yeah.
On
Right.
$2 million, we'd be another $200,000,
Of
we'd actually,
interest.
of interest, we'd actually be better off to scrap it and do it ourselves. I'm not saying we can't use a portion of the engineering that we've got, I think the
I
idea
think
of
we have a
going
lot of
up,
valuable information.
going
from-
up and shaving a little off of that, off of the
Mhm.
uphill side and taking that road down, that 4 foot out of that hump there would make a considerable difference in.
And you could
drivability
use that
of road.
material for some on the bank or no?
Probably
Wouldn't want
not,
that.
and what you put on the bank is gonna have to be all something that's gonna hold.
So what do you think that would cost?
I can tell you what it was 2 years ago.
Yeah,
It was
that's fine.
$200,000. That's what I'm saying, I'm thinking probably 253
Well,
now.
I'm thinking more closer to 4 to do it longer down at the bottom and then try to, cause we got 2 slides. 2 spots, much well, we're gonna do this spot, and there's a 40-foot tunnel. Well, guess what? It'll probably slide in that 40-foot. I think you
It's,
connect them both.
it's
A
200-300
I
feet
was
in
gonna say,
between,
there's quite a bit of distance.
Oh, is there?
between them.
Okay.
and the bank bulbs out there.
Yeah.
Okay,
So there's more bank
Yeah.
there.
It's something where, it doesn't have to be forever. It could be something where we pause this particular project, we don't commit to the FEMA direction. We would have to
Pay
take
the 150.
out of capital roads, we would take the 152, 153 that we've spent, you know, that's engineering that is valuable.
Yes.
A lot of
We
interesting
know,
information
we
in
know that, the ground is stable. We know there's not water running through it. So we have,
Have that information,
Yeah,
we have that information. We also have the realignment of the road of
cutting it down.
up above and taking a little out of the bank.
Yeah.
So I think, like you said, there's a lot of valuable information there that we can use. We're just not ready to do it.
no. And I think given the amount of projects that we have, you know, the water line project is huge. We know that potentially we would need to borrow for that anyway. So that can be sort of looked at a separate,
You know, the old water line came down through there, probably it failed and that's what washed the bank out. So maybe the water district should pay for it.
I don't see that going very far.
If you, right about where you took the pictures,
Yeah.
they used to
That's
have to be
where the line
careful ditching because they'd hit the line.
It's above ground now, you can see the pipe.
So yeah, we obviously have the water line project, which goes for the next 6 years or so. Each year is either $300,000 for the year for the engineering, a little bit more, and then it's about 1.7 million per year. We also have
Provided we get reimbursement.
well, no, that's what the cost is of the whole project, but the reimbursement is obviously, we hope it's gonna be half of that. So that's going on for the next 6 years. We also have Basin Street, which we know is a multi-year project, probably 3 years. 2028 is when those grants run out, so that's definitely something that we're behind on funding. That is going on right now, that is started, that we can't stop. We have this building, the renovations, that's next year. At the same time, we also have the library, that's next year. This building, we know that the MERP funds, we can submit directly for reimbursement, so that's not something we need in the bank. But we do need a certain chunk, percentage of that comes from our capital building fund. And again, this is, while we have those funds, it's still money that needs to be in the bank. And so, you know, with Sharon and Chris and myself sort of looking at this, right, the library money's reimbursement as well.
Yeah.
Sharon, myself, and Chris looking at this, it's just, we have so many projects that we're doing right now that to add another one to this, unless we had a source of funding that we could use.
Taylor.
That doesn't.
Yeah, that's why I was asking,
Possibly.
could she get a highway money?
Right.
And this is also the lowest priority out of all those other
Right.
projects. So,
You got the new town barn
Right.
in 26.
Oh, 26. Maybe we need.
Pushing that right up front before they lose all my money.
Maybe, might need to have a chat about that.
yeah.
But no, I mean, there,
March town meeting.
Talk to Taylor.
Right.
March town meeting bond, whether it's gonna fly or not.
So yeah, I mean, looking at this, we have a lot going on. And
But
this is something that, even though we've committed to the engineering, we haven't committed to doing the project. And that's what we're being asked to do by FEMA, because it's gone on for about 1.5 years. I don't know, Frida, do you have any other?
Yeah, I was
comments?
gonna ask what your recommendation
Yeah, what
was,
are your
Frida.
thoughts, Frida?
Well, I love this discussion. You're a very great board, very well discussed. I would say, yeah, the current costing for that project site from FEMA is 2.3, but your estimate is 2.5. So no matter what, you're eating cost. And that was an estimate given to you almost, you know, 1.5 years, almost 2 years ago, right? So we know for sure that cost is going to go up and the construction cost is going to go up. So your portion is going to go up. And although Ian is right that FEMA, like, they're all reimbursement. So I know Ian keeps saying like we have $1 million up front, which you are right that you have to have the reimbursements up front. However, I wouldn't necessarily look at it as a 2.5 million has to be in the bank first, because you know, I've done bridge replacement projects with FEMA that went on for 5 years. And if it's a large project, which this is, you can do what are called drawdowns, which is literally like you pay as you go. You pay one invoice, you get reimbursed. Now, the timeline for when that reimbursement is coming in, we have no control over, but
Yeah.
you can budget it like that. You could do it. I still think I don't know. I think it's really truly the town's discussion. If that road is not, it's not the only option for travel to where it's going to, if it's not affecting more than a handful of Bristol residents, the Bristol residents are really have to be your primary concern, even though it does affect Lincoln residents as well, but Bristol is the one paying for this repair. So the Bristol taxpayers are paying for this. So those should be your primary concern. And I would say, looking at it like that, no matter what, the cost of this project is astronomical. And if it doesn't, if the costs don't justify with the town, which it sounds to me like they don't, then perhaps looking at either closing that road. I know you had a study done several years ago that looked at even an alternate route for that road, maybe even looking at something like that and seeking other funds in the future for a totally different idea for that road. It hurts to walk away from FEMA because it's such a rare opportunity. How often do the feds come to town and say, we'll help you pay for this? It never happens, right? So it's really hard to walk away from that. Because they also don't put a deadline on things. FEMA will literally keep your project open until it's finished, which is unlike grants, which have deadlines. So FEMA has a lot of positives to it. You will not find another grant that's gonna cover the cost of a project this big, as you're seeing in Basin Street and as you saw with the riverbank restoration on Lincoln Road, which cost the taxpayers over $400,000, beyond what the grants covered. So I would say, as difficult as it is to walk away from FEMA, it might be the right thing to do in this particular case, just because the project is so big and it doesn't sound like it's justifiable by the use of the road. They did say if that road was built today, it wouldn't meet any current standards. So that's something to consider when you're thinking about fixing a portion of a road that you know is problematic throughout the course of that road, right? So if it's very likely a different portion is going to give out after this is fixed, you'll be in the same position. And that, I mean, think how much that road could ultimately cost the town.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like $250,000 per household.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Frida, could the, do you remember the study, what was it 3 years ago, 4 years ago? Remember we thought about pushing the intersection of Lincoln Road and 116 to the north? And they brought that presentation to come down and cut in by Bartlett's, actually come through that section of Briggs Hill and get to 116. Has anybody looked at that? When we got to this bad spot, they could turn right, go north and go through the
So
woods. and-
that study was done
money
before
be
my
used?
time, but I'm aware of it. And I know that I kind of wish that at the time of this event, that study was referenced as one of the town's alternate desires for that road, because I believe FEMA would have included it in costing, but it wasn't provided to FEMA before the deadline for submitting alternative ideas. And they were only given that one solution. And so that's what they scoped. But I'm aware of what you're talking about. And that's kind of what I'm referencing when I say, if we want to walk away from FEMA at this point and all together think we'll deal with that road in the future with completely different funds, just look for different grants for a completely different alternative for that road. And that might look like that, pointing to that study where we realign the, where it intersects. Kind of
It was a little bit different because we were looking at realigning Lincoln Road.
Lincoln and Briggs, yeah.
Versus Briggs, so it was, yeah, it added a little bit.
Yeah, they were
The issue
relocating the
is,
whole.
somebody's building a house in there now, we're not gonna
Right.
be able to go through the house,
Yes.
so.
Yeah, there's not much there at the moment, but someone has purchased that land, and so that makes it more complicated. But, and that was that study, I mean, that was a huge undertaking.
Yeah.
FEMA's not gonna let us use, if what it was, let's say it was half the funding to go across Amiga Park and cut over through there. If they said, well, we could do that for $1 million, and FEMA said, well, you saved us $1.5 million. We closed Briggs Hill and, remember we talked about from across Amiga Park.
And they said no.
Oh, did
Right,
they?
the property, yeah.
They said
Property
no.
owner said no.
Property owners, yeah. Yeah, we had explored that as a potential.
Of course, maybe if we're not gonna repair the road, maybe it comes back on the table.
No,
Right.
if they're not agreeable to
No, but maybe
giving up
they-
their property,
Right.
there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, maybe they would be more agreeable if we're not.
Well, they
For a
access,
good price.
Lincoln Road.
So they
They-
can use it,
yeah.
okay, okay.
They can go out
They
either
can
way.
still do it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and Frida's right in terms of the amount of money that you're spending each month. Obviously, you don't need that full amount. I was sort of speaking just because of the other projects,
Right.
sort of adding that in. I mean, we calculated that if for the water line project, it's about 400,000 a month once it gets going, just for that project that we're having to spend.
Yeah,
If it's a $4 million project. So, and that's, hopefully we have some options for that. One of them obviously is being able to borrow that money. But then again, that the price of that project then goes up depending on what percentage we're having to pay on that. And we're sort of running the numbers on that. But, Jill had mentioned at the top of the meeting that there's potential to work around that and have maybe another option once that project starts to move.
Doesn't anybody have any rich relatives?
Right. If anyone has
I
any
use
rich
that money for
relatives,
myself if I did.
I'd be happy to talk to them. Yeah, it's just one of these things where it's, you have a natural disaster happen. And just because of the steepness of that road and the complexity of that road, it's not a simple repair.
No.
The Lincoln stabilization seems simple compared to this one, where you have a road that does not meet any standards.
Yeah.
And then to rebuild it,
But I just think back 2 years ago, we were told somewhere in the neighborhood of 200,000 to do the repair with stepping up with, I call it a better term of blocks.
Right.
And now we get, I think, somewhere in the neighborhood of 3 to maybe 4. We wait 3-4 years, it's gonna be 6 or 8.
It'll be $1 million.
It'll be $1
Yeah.
million.
Oh, I know. But we also, if we're doing it ourselves, again, if it's something that we're not relying on FEMA or potentially grant money, it's money that we would need to have in the capital fund to be able to pay for that. And it's also on the town's liability too, for not having it engineered to a certain degree. You want to do that to make sure that what you're proposing is going to work.
It doesn't all slide down
Not
the
saying
hill.
that it's not going to work, it's just, it adds more complication to that
Yeah.
discussion. I mean, it's been done that way for many decades, and stuff has held and you have the experience. But then anytime you're looking at grants and you want to use that kind of funding for a project, they want the engineering, they need that guarantee. And so it adds a tremendous amount of the cost to your project. It's just one of those things. You have to sort of make the decision, especially with complex projects like this. So I guess I would sort of look to see what folks want to do. I mean, it's going up there today, the road is definitely not, I don't see that there's any way that we can open it in the near future. And any kind of work that we do would have to be planned and have to be budgeted for. And Sharon, Chris and I looked at the projects that we're looking at, and it just doesn't seem like we have the funding available to begin to tackle a project of this size with this direction.
Yeah.
Maybe unassigned funds when we finally figure out where they are and how much there is.
I like your optimism. that we'll just find this large pot of money,
She
right?
kind of said it under her breath. I don't think there was a lot of optimism there. All right, so what's your pleasure here? We're gonna,
I don't think we have to do anything, right? 'Cause
I know we
Oh,
don't,
okay.
well,
Well, we have to make a
I'll make a
decision whether
motion
we're
that we-
going.
Right.
I'll make a motion, we continue to keep Briggs Hill closed until other options are explored.
Which
That
means,
gets-
which
gets it
means
wide open.
giving up FEMA though.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm actually looking for direction from the town right now for FEMA. FEMA is kind of awaiting the town's response, so I am actually looking for your direction for how to respond to FEMA. Do we want to continue and sign off on their proposed scoping of 2.3 million for that site, or are we saying no to FEMA and calling back that project?
I didn't make that motion to call back that project.
I'll make the motion
Okay.
to keep the road closed and call back the FEMA, and not pursue that. And we just don't have it.
I know.
Just
Until an undetermined time.
Right.
Yeah, until we figure out what we're gonna do.
So
or
then
have
we
the money
can't go
to
back
fix
to
it.
FEMA again.
No.
Like,
No.
come-
No, it's
No,
done.
it's done.
So this hurts me because I hate to turn away money, but I second.
okay, so we
To
have,
get money, you gotta spend money.
Right.
so we have a motion and a second to leave Briggs Hill closed indefinitely and turn back the
FEMA grant.
FEMA grant. Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Nay.
Motion carried.
Well, wait, before you vote nay, are you gonna share your thinking? Like,
I'm not walking away from FEMA money.
so even though we might not have the liquidity to pay
If
the
we're-
contractors, like you would borrow to do that at
Borrow it if we
interest.
spend $500,000 on interest.
Yeah,
and
because they won't pay
we
for the
can't-
interest.
And we're gonna do the blocks ourselves to the tune of 400 to 500.
Wait, you can't,
If we're going to do the blocks ourselves, the 400 to 500,000, and not engineered. We're no further ahead, but we're no further behind. And I don't wanna
but
walk
the
away.
FEMA won't let us do the blocks. We have to do.
No, we gotta
right,
do it the way they wanna do it.
Right, the 2.3.
I think it's a wash. It's a wash because it's about the same amount of money to do ourselves and walk away from our FEMA money versus paying the interest. And if it's 5% on 250,000, that's about 110 or 125,000.
Right.
That's where I was coming with that. That's all.
So, but does it make sense to try to, if it's basically a wash, does it make sense to wait until maybe we don't have so many projects on the table? Is
Well,
what
then
I
we
was-
walked away from FEMA. We're never going to go back. That's,
Yeah, exactly. That's, yeah. That's
if
the
we
hard
left
part.
that, I guess that's a free question. Well, it's already been voted. But if we don't walk away from them, but we're suspending it, can we come back in 5 years?
But I think she's saying.
No,
that
they want
You
us to move
cannot
forward.
because
Yeah.
you cannot because it's part of that declared storm event and it's actually tied to that a very specific date range, which is like 11 days or less. So you definitely cannot go back to it
So we either start the project or we walk away.
and approach a different funding source in the future.
It's all
yeah.
right. It's it's all right.
I know, but I wanted to know your thinking.
I just thought,
Sometimes that's scary, you know.
I'll be hard to walk away from too.
It's not an easy decision to
I
make.
started noticing that Joel and I vote the same though. That's why I wanted to hear it.
What was that, Frida?
I'm just confirming this is not an easy decision to make and you guys are really smart to have this discussion at length. And I understand why the board is a little bit torn because it's definitely not an easy decision.
Yeah.
Already.
Too bad we can't transfer that money somewhere else.
Yeah, or save it, just freeze it and wait.
Thank you, Frida.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right, review and approval of past meeting minutes.
Make a motion to approve all the meeting minutes that Ian put up there, and I can't tell you the dates.
Second, I looked at them
I
actually.
was gonna make a motion, we approve all past meeting minutes.
I mean, you could do that if you want to. I mean, they're in fairly good shape. Some
I
of
was
them are
gonna say
just
they're
have
pretty
valves out,
close.
but yeah, I mean, if you
No,
want,
that's all right.
if you want to do that, I mean, there
Maybe for next meeting, you can bring us the ones, and maybe we're
there's
just,
still a handful that are out there, but if you want to approve it, I think that would be fine. We have multiple sources to source in
there's-
the meetings. They're all recorded. They're all on YouTube for people to watch. It's just the particular details that the previous town administrator wanted in them. And I think looking at them, the ones that we haven't updated, the great majority of the information is there. And we have a second source to verify that information if people are confused. And the comments that I'm getting from Michelle for our past ones are very minute details. So
Right.
if you wanted to make that motion, I think that would be fine.
no,
I can work through it.
actually, I don't need to, because that's what it says. It doesn't have any dates. It just says a review and approval of
Of
past meeting minutes.
Yeah.
And
Sorry.
I said I make a motion to approve the ones
Okay.
that he has
Okay, you got a
online.
motion in second, so we're fine. Okay.
So we do have a motion in a second.
Mhm.
Okay, errors, any errors or omissions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Authorized warrants and any liquor or tobacco license, any liquor or tobacco license we have to deal with?
Yes, I do. Bristol Beverage, American Legion, South Mountain. And South Mountain, we have 4 conditions that we had on them last year.
Right.
Right.
Alcohol cannot be served on the porch or side deck outside after 10 p.m. Establishment must close by midnight with all customers out. The exception is New Year's Eve. Can stay open until 1 a.m.
Oh, no.
The overhead door must be closed by 10 PM if there's music inside, and a gate is required on the side deck with no access to the sidewalk.
Sounds good.
That gate isn't there yet.
That's the one out on the deck, right? Yeah.
Yes, I think it's just a chain at the
It's a
moment, but
chain,
I know that he's working on that. I see him every once in a while, and he does have it on his punch list.
He probably has a couple weeks before anyone sits out there, right?
That's
We
true.
need a motion to allow Sharon to
Yes.
approve those.
So
Make a
moved.
motion. So,
So we have a motion. and a
Now
second.
everyone's excited.
So, who am I giving? Michelle
care.
made the motion, just for clarity for the minutes, and
Thank you.
Jessica seconded it. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. And the warrants are,
There's two
$109,940.97,
different ones.
and then where's the other one? This one?
That one, yep.
And one for $440. So
There
one
should be
do-
a third.
There's the third one. I think there's a third one.
This one here,
I think this one. That one.
and one for $3,200.
all right. Select board roundtable. Jessica.
I don't think I have anything. Yeah.
Really?
Except I did get approval for the student RA, the one with data analysis skills, and he's gonna be
Okay.
working with Sharon and Chris and Ian.
Sure.
And he's going to be running analyses for the local option tax. We started collecting how some other towns are doing it, and then he'll run some budget simulations. So we should get that information by like August.
Nothing for me in this position.
Michelle.
I'm good.
Joel.
Just, this one here was $3,200. It says 28 North Street or North.
That was the
Stairs?
almost home. Got hit by a
Yeah.
snowplow.
Oh, got hit. Oh, okay.
Not
Sorry.
his fault.
Him or one of his
That was
drivers.
quick to blame there.
Man,
Just-
you couldn't even get out of the way quick enough.
Boy, she did. I just. My
I had
sister-
One thing about it, you protected Jimmy. He didn't
My
get hurt.
sister asked, I got second information here, Ian. My sister asked me about her class, and I think it was 1973. I'm not 100% sure. Here was 74. And they put in for a park bench to have a name on a park bench, and I said I didn't see it on the agenda. So,
Yeah,
When did they do?
a
just
little
recently?
while ago, it'll be on the next agenda. I
Okay.
believe.
so that's,
Okay.
and then that's all I had.
Okay.
Oh, no, I did have one more. Water meters. Jill, are you still on?
Yep, she is.
I am.
Sharon tells me there's still about 30 water meters that are still automatic reads. They don't read. About
I think there's like maybe like 25 to 27.
Okay, 30 is a pretty good close number then. I would say. Any possibility of getting them wrapped up before winter time? Get them repaired so they can
Now
get
that-
actual reads?
Now that the ground isn't frozen and we can actually shut off if there's an issue, we should be able to get them done in the coming weeks. Or, well, it'll probably take a couple months.
I
to get
gave it
all
till
of
cold
them.
weather next year.
Yeah,
just-
it'll take several months to get into all the different spots, but 2 or 3 of them are just touchpads, so those will be pretty fast. The hardest ones are gonna be the tenant occupied, where I can't get the landlords to answer a phone call and they can't get into the property.
You know how to
so-
get them to answer your phone call?
Shut 'em off.
Shut their water off.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And then
All right,
wrong.
I'm gonna take that advice. Sharon, prepare yourself.
Kenny, God rest her soul, pretty
No,
sure we used to say.
Sharon's shaking
if we-
her head on that.
if
Tell
we could
Gail
collect
we
taxes like
apologize.
collect Water bills.
Tell Gail we apologize in advance.
Yeah, so, okay,
All right.
All right.
all right,
Thanks, Joe.
thanks.
Town administrator.
That's something, but I don't know what it is.
Was it important?
Yeah, very important. It was,
Riveting.
yes. So interim town administrators report.
Let's see.
Hasn't he talked enough tonight?
Ow, ow.
That
Need a
could be-
cough
that
drop?
could be good or bad. I don't know how you decide.
Slam the door.
We had an interview on Friday for a town administrator candidate, went very well received. And we need to arrange another, hopefully this coming week. We're gonna have 2, one had to cancel due to a personal issue. And so hopefully to rearrange that. And so I'm hoping that to get at least 3 that we can interview, at least the first round interview, and then make recommendations from the committee to
That's
see who
exciting.
would come to a second interview with the select board.
So the one you said, canceled because of personal, but they're gonna get re-interviewed, or no, they backed out?
No, they're just canceled
Couldn't-
for that particular interview.
that time.
And then, yeah, I
Oh,
didn't reach
okay.
out to them. So that's on that area. We're probably looking, now that we're into April, probably looking at July 1st. Maybe earlier if we're lucky, but just in terms of
Timing.
yeah, timing and all of that. So, but that's what we're sort of looking at. We had a meeting for the MERC project. We brought back Asher Nelson from Vermont Integrated Architecture. He was who we worked with through the regional planning to do the initial scoping documents and price costing for Holly Hall. We brought him back to engage him further in his company, which we talked about before, as well as adding the library into that. So I've sent him details of the scoping study for the library, and I'll send him details for the designs that David from the Energy Committee had sort of designed for the quiet room. And he's going to then engage some of his people in terms of mechanical as well as sort of systems engineering to look at the projects as a whole. We went this direction because reaching out to design build firms didn't bear any fruit in terms of their interest to take on these 2 projects. So by engaging the engineer, or at least the VIA, who had familiarity with the project, we hope that'll move it along. They also will be able to present recommendations for contractors as well, and we'll be able to see how the different pieces of the project are parceled out to be able to engage as we progress through it. That makes sense? And probably a whole bunch of other stuff, which I now can't remember.
That's why you have to take notes.
No, well, yeah. No, just various things, like there's just always something going on.
Oh, I'll throw something out there.
Duck.
The ceiling upstairs, we got the money from the insurance company, so Aiden's has the person that's gonna be doing it, so they're trying to get him on the schedule so we can get the water
Oh,
fixed
good.
upstairs.
The water stains.
Oh, that's
Yeah, the
great.
water stains.
Yeah, because it's a special acoustic material that
Yeah.
needs to be sprayed on to be able to cover this.
So where the water's coming, so it's been fixed.
Right.
Yes.
Correct. The roof
Yeah.
work was
Rooster
done.
already did that part on the outside, but somebody else is gonna do it on the inside. And then, of course, with the MERP stuff going on, we're probably gonna be displaced for one of the elections next year. And of course, that will bring down any of the rentals that Meredith does upstairs for the
Correct.
6 or 8 months that it takes to do that work.
You got one other big thing too, going on tomorrow.
Yes, it's tax day tomorrow. Did you bring me any?
But that is why I just joined you. I've been trying to reconcile today's deposit until just now.
I'll be in.
My wife paid hours.
It go right to the bank when Peaker comes in.
Would we do the election at the school then, or where's the secondary site?
No, we did it down here during COVID, so.
Make it work.
It's
Down
not a
here in the-
presidential, yeah.
I think
Okay.
perfect. We do March
No,
election.
they're gonna start MERP after the March election.
Oh, I was gonna say we have the March election at the town barn. And we have it on the ballot for a new town garage. And when they walk through that, in the old green building.
I do have one more thing. I wanna start would like to start the 10-hour days first week of May.
Didn't we leave it at his discretion last year?
Well, I still like to
Yes
come
and
to you
no.
guys and
Let you know.
let you know, so.
So Monday through Thursday, 10-hour days, and the one employee's gonna use personal time. To make
No,
up
he'll
for
be
it.
working a 10-hour day. If he wants to leave early, he use time.
Oh, last year, he.
Last year, he worked 10-hour days.
Oh, he did.
Yeah,
Cause I thought
Don't say any names.
cause I was just reading the notes that said he would use personal time. That was one of the
Well, we
minutes I
said he
did.
had to if
He
he.
had to, if
He
he
had
didn't
to
want
if he
to
wanted
work a 10-hour day, he needed to use time to whatever, if you wanna use nines, then he'd have to
Okay.
use an hour every day
Every day.
to get done on
Gotcha.
nines.
Gotcha.
It's not like he doesn't have it.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true.
You're right, so I've been working, so let's see, what am I saying, the Murph project, we had the Harvey Road scoping study kickoff meeting, which was very short, AZ and I, that's for the bridge.
Oh, Parker Road, yeah.
What?
Had to reorient where I was.
Right, we're all over the place. And then, yeah, I'm doing the monthly sort of water meetings with Jill and Steve, talking about that project. The tree project, I'm working on that in terms of the trees that we're gonna plant for this year. So we planted 30 last year. We're looking at doing another 36 or 37
20 are going on Elm Street.
this year.
That's great.
They've been marked out by Josh and by John Swepston.
I do need
We're also trying to figure out how they're gonna be watered, which wasn't really thought out as best it should be, and so I'm working on that to try to figure out
I scheduled
what's-
Mother Nature for mine.
what's that, yeah, what's that gonna look like?
Could we do like tree champions and let somebody adopt a tree?
That's what Josh did last time he engaged the community. There were certain things worked about that, certain things didn't, mainly like hose length and stuff.
Right.
Once a property owner knew where the tree was, couldn't reach the tree, so.
Then you're
various-
carrying 5-gallon
right,
buckets.
various things. So we're researching. The idea was to spend some of the grant money on a trailer and water container, but when you start to do the actual math of how big a tree gator is, which is what you fill to
Right.
be able to have it seep out over a
I mean,
week.
the
it's-
green bags.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
green bags,
Yeah.
they're 20 gallons, it takes, 4 minutes to fill each one of those, you times that by 67, you times that by how many times you need to refill a 275 gallon tank, so it's a whole day just to do 67 trees,
Wow.
generally.
You guys are out in Virgins, I give you plenty of water, I've got 30 gallons a minute, I'm pumping out of the basement.
Would the conservation committee be able to help brainstorm?
Maybe, but I think what we'll do is probably just hire a
45
contract out.
days
The
over,
Public
8-pound
Works
weekend.
Department doesn't really have the time or person power to be able to do it. They're, at this point, they're focusing on a lot of other projects. Aiden and Meredith, who are officially parks, also don't have the time. So it's just one of those things that needed a little bit more detail when it was presented. And now we're just sort of figuring out what that
Okay.
means. So yeah, I've been working on that, doing the FEMA meetings, wrapping up the police negotiations. What else are we doing? Looking at the Mountain Street Stormwater Improvement Scoping Study. So I've got that put together. We had that grant for a couple of years now, and we want to be able to use that. And so that's just a small amount of money, about 12,000, with the rest 48 coming from a grant to be able to see what we want to do with the water that's coming off of the mountain and
So
running down.
purely scoping
Can we put-
engineering.
Correct.
They have it rain on the other side.
Can we
They
put
go
3
the
of
other way
those,
and they're getting the river and then they'll wash the bridges out.
Peter, can we put 3 of those trees up after we fix the slide? Bricks fill the whole bank in?
So that's what I've been doing, and a bunch of other things.
Okay. That's good.
Any other
No others.
correspondence,
No,
executive session?
Nope.
no.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
And a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion failed.